Why do people in society have to state the freaking obvious? People die. Well, no duh. There's going to be criminals. Well, no duh. Mere fact is, nobody, and I mean nobody, had the right to go to these protests and create a counter argument. Nobody asked the MAGA hats for their freaking fragile feelings, talking about all lives matter. I'm so disgusted that people in society were allowed to go to the protests that were meant to bring forth awareness and bring forth equality in this country, which has not been done. By the way, it's still Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and he said that he had a dream, and that dream was, I'm pretty sure, to have equality. And guess what? Equality has not been obtained. So you guys can go to some other freaking TikTok creator and have some fluffy conversation. But I'm going to give you the truth because I'm 36 years old. And guess what? I don't know how long I'm going to be here. So while I'm here, I'm going to give you guys the truth. The BLM was meant only for awareness to end police brutality. Why? Because people can't breathe. Because these police are using these deadly chokeholds that are killing these men. And it's not only black men, it's also white men. But they're not protesting and they don't seem to care as much. Black people want to live. So we're going to march and we're going to fight, verbally for what we feel we should have the right to do. Elijah McClain is a part of the BLM. Breonna Taylor is a part of the BLM. Who else? Michael Brown, a part of the BLM. Who else? George Floyd, a part of the BLM. Who else? There's so freaking many. Even, who else? Who's David Dorn? Can you remind me of what happened to him? There's so freaking many. So many racists in this country. The mere fact that anybody can come to a protest or come around black people and say the negative things you guys are saying to even me and my people. I swear to God, you guys haven't seen nothing yet. People are getting sick and tired of people being racist in this country. Nobody wants anything to do with it. In fact, I was talking to my daughter who is a Gen Z and she said, Mom, like nobody talks about those types of things. Like nobody goes up to other people and calls them labels. It's actually taboo. In fact, people nowadays allow people to have their own identity in multiple alphabets. It's an old way of thinking. And it's an old way to do things in society. If you think about it, there's not that many young people screaming all lives matter. And if they are, they probably have parents that taught them to be disrespectful at a protest. Mere fact is, Blue Lives Matter should not be a counter argument for the BLM. Mere fact is, blue lives are also black. And like one of the girls said on TikTok, young, beautiful girl, I don't have her name right now, but she said it's not a blue life. It's a blue shirt. That's all it is. It's a blue shirt. It's not a blue life. The BLM is about actual lives. Yes, cops die. Of course they do. And of course their lives should matter. But why freaking mooch off of the BLM's freaking acronym? You guys can't get your own freaking acronym? Let me tell you something. If they would have never made it an argument between whether Blue Lives Matter or the BLM, guess what? I'm pretty sure people would all say and agree, yeah, Blue Lives Matter. But the mere fact is, who the freaking made this a competition of lives mattering? Who said that they didn't matter? The BLM is not saying that nobody lives matter. The BLM was saying these police, like it's just an acronym, but the objective, the mission was to bring forth awareness, like Colin Kaepernick did when he freaking kneeled down on a knee to say, stop killing us in the streets. Let us live. Sandra Bland is a part of the BLM. I still cannot believe that she died in the prison with a freaking bag like that. I mean, the bag wasn't even stretched out. They just make things up as they go. You ain't fooling me. You can't play a player. I say this, that nobody allows people to say things negative about the BLM year 2022. I really hope that some of my videos go viral, because I'm going to make it normalized if I can, to say you don't have the right to come to a that's wrong. That's misconduct. That's like somebody going to a freaking church and start talking about the devil. It's like, who the hell brought you? Ain't nobody asked anything about the devil. Just making up stuff as they go. You know, I love that you guys come here, you racist, in my comment section, because you know what? It makes you feel good, doesn't it? It makes you feel good. You could say George Floyd was a freaking criminal. His daughter's still rich. And guess who's paying for that? That's right. Our tax-paid money. You guys should see how much money goes out to the freaking family for payouts when these families win these cases. Who's paying for that? You guys are so sick in your disgusting hatefulness. You guys aren't even asking the real questions. Why are these police getting away with murder, and who the hell's paying for these payouts? These $1 million payouts. You know, maybe that's why Chicago isn't freaking getting fixed. Maybe that's why Chicago's freaking jacked up. Black people are the most exonerated. What happens when you're wrongfully accused of something and you have done time in jail? They got to pay you for every single day they wrongfully accused you. Who's paying for that? You want a chance to be a capitalist in this country? How the hell are you going to get there? As soon as you get your check, half the check is gone. That money went to George Floyd's daughter, the criminal. Who's really winning? Basically, at this point, if one person sacrifices their life with their family, if one person in your family becomes a martyr, hell, we all getting paid. One death in the family is a new way to come up at this point, because we getting paid. So who's really winning? George Floyd's daughter ain't gonna need for nothing, which is kind of mind-boggling. His grandniece just got shot. I don't know what kind of neighborhood she's living in, but she's gonna need to pitch that $2 million that Kanye West gave her. No, it wasn't George Floyd's daughter. It was George Floyd's niece, my love. You know, it was kind of disgusting. Listen, if you are an ally for equality in this country, do me a favor. Know who I am. My name is Andrea, and I am a intuitively driven activist for morality. I am an outspoken person because my God makes me just have the courage, the audacity to challenge these racists. They're in the comments. They have been here for years now. Last year, remember the ape emojis? Yeah, remember that? Remember all the racist banter? They're still here in the comments. I'm telling you, racism is live and well, but they want you to get over it. Just get over it. It's not happening to you. It's happening to me right now. Am I a victim? Abso-fucking-lutely. I'm a freaking victim of society. Absolutely. But I'm a survivor because I'm still standing. But how many people had to die for me to stand? Today's Martin Luther King Jr. Day. You think Martin Luther King Jr. had an easy ride? Non-violent. Got a freaking rock side about his head. He went to jail. They were videotaping him. And he wasn't even doing nothing wrong. He was a pastor and a preacher. Kind of amazing to me that you guys celebrate Martin Luther King Day and don't even question why he was being surveillanced. What's up?
How's it going?
Just another day.
That's good. I saw your live. Actually, you've come over my For You page quite a bit, so I wanted to see if we could have a conversation.
Of course. Always.
You want to know a little bit about me?
Sure.
I'm from Texas. I was in the Army for 10 years, and I am currently a police officer for the federal government.
Okay.
I am biracial. I was
Clearly.
raised in a, well, you say clearly, but
Oh, I can
actually
tell.
on my lives earlier, I was called a cracker and a white guy.
Oh, that's horrible.
Well, I mean, I don't. It doesn't bother me
Yeah.
because I've been called everything under the sun because
There you
nobody
go.
knows what I am.
Yeah. My dad
Right?
has the same issue. He's,
Exactly.
but he don't know who
So
his daddy is. But that's
yeah,
okay. You're a beautiful human being, and you're a cop. Listen,
yeah.
let's get
So
into it.
yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have this one on one is because I heard everything that you said, and I felt like maybe we could have an adult conversation and not get into the name calling and everything else
No,
that
I don't do that
most
here. I don't
exactly
do that
that
here.
most TikTokers do, and they just get into some like fantasy world.
Yeah,
So I was just
literally
hoping
all
that
my fans disagree with me. Believe it or not.
well, but they're fans, right?
Yeah, they keep coming, but that's my show. It's me because I am pro gun control. A lot of my, well, I wouldn't say fans, but you guys come here, so I'm gonna call you that.
Right.
My reoccurring community players don't ever agree with me, to be honest. But go ahead. So where do you stand in all this? I feel intuitively tonight. I try to let my intuition guide me to topics because I see a lot of people talking about abortion now. And it's just like, really, how do you even debate that? That's so boring to me.
Yeah.
And tonight I was like, I saw something come up from last year when I posted about Elijah McClain. And I said, oh my God, we have forgotten to say their name again because some of these people haven't gotten justice. So that's why I wanted to debate Blue Lives Matter versus BLM because why is there a comparison? Who made this a competition? Who did that?
I guess I kind of need to know more on your stance. Like, what do you mean by what's the comparison? Like, what's one versus the other?
Right, exactly. I don't know. Like
Okay.
I don't understand the dynamic is what I'm saying. The BLM was brought forward because it started with Colin Kaepernick. People with fame decided to start fighting back, but what got the BLM really going was George Floyd, which is kind of mind-boggling because he wasn't really the greatest poster child for the BLM. Like if I could pick somebody that was going to be a statue and have an act and all this, it would have been Elijah McClain.
I agree with you. I don't think Kaepernick should have been involved whatsoever. And what I found interesting is that the only time he was involved is during football season, and off season he was not involved in any of the BLM or any kind of black movement or any kind of movement. Period. And so that made me feel that it was very prejudiced, and I felt that it was very much to do with the money that he was going to get, especially with the Nike deal that he got.
You got a Nike deal?
Oh yeah, oh yeah, he got a Nike deal because of who, quote unquote, he was, to include the Netflix special that he had.
So you think that my sister was calling? Sorry guys, so I had to turn off my mic, which that's fine. Listen, you think that Colin Kaepernick didn't he lose his position? Didn't he lose his career
So
as a football player?
he
They
lost
dropped him,
his
right?
right, but at the same time, the brown community, I guess you could say, is saying that it's racist because they dropped him. I mean, I don't ever remember a time that he actually played.
Well, listen, to me, he's a freaking hero. I mean, who gives a damn if he makes a check? We got freaking people in church, right, that are making billions of dollars tax free off of the public coming there to an altar for an entity that's not even in the real. Some of these pastors are making freaking millions and millions of dollars. Okay, so the
I
mere fact that And let's talk about all these football players that just kick a football around, which I think is completely premeditated. Okay, to be honest, there's so much money in the Coliseum of today called the NFL. It's kind of amazing to me. Who cares if he decided to say, you know what, this matters to me, and I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to do something very peacefully and get on one knee. And guess what? He got recognition for it, and guess what? He might have got a Nike deal for it. He also got backlash for it. He also has hate for it. But guess what? What happened to I went viral going against that one guy. What's his name? Who stood up? I can't believe I forgot his name because remember that last year, guys? What's his name? Mr. Cheesy. He stood up and he didn't get on the. So the NFL, the basketball, they actually support the BLM. What's his name? Isaac. What's his name? Isaac. Oh, God, this is going to drive you crazy. His name is Isaac. Anyway, who cares? Yeah, no, not Colin Kaepernick. What's the other one? Isaac. That's going to drive me crazy. Anyways, who cares if he got fame? Who cares? Who cares? You're a police officer. Let's get down to it. You're a police officer. Don't say Bruce. Like, y'all be messing with me in the comments. He stood up for what is right, and he got recognition for it. What's wrong with that?
The question is what is right, and how is it that he, as an individual that was raised in privilege, is able to say what is right and what is wrong? The biggest thing was that he kneeled, and that was the big flag, and that most people will say that you kneel on the flag, then that's disrespectful. And I fought for this country. I've been deployed 3 times, Iraq and Afghanistan. So I understand how people feel. I mean, I don't really take a lot of stock into people's actions because
Jonathan, thank you.
Inherently, people are stupid. Nobody really goes off of action. Everybody usually goes off of what that action will equal, which is fame or some kind of recognition.
Okay, can I ask you this? That passion that you have for fighting for this country. That passion that you say about that flag, where's that passion with your half black side? With all the black men that died in a war called the Civil War to keep them as chattel, to keep them as slaves. Let me tell you something. You might be a biracial man, but guess what? In this country, you're a black man. But and the mere fact, it don't matter if you're light skinned. It don't matter if you're half white. In this country, they label you a black man.
But I have to ask the other part of it.
Why so my thing is this. You care so much about this country, and you should. We all should. But you know who fought for this country more than anybody? You know who fought to be in this country? Black people, and especially black men. And the mere fact that still to this day, they have never gotten reparations and used to be hung from trees. They have never gotten reparations or even recognized for centuries of survival of white supremacy in this country. And the mere fact that Colin Kaepernick decided to say, no more will we stand on a flag that was meant to keep us enslaved, oppressed, and inferior. Now, you might say, well, you're not as oppressed. You're not as enslaved. I don't know what a 9-to-5 to you looks like. I'm pretty sure you're clocking in and you got to clock out, and you don't get paid unless you clock in, and you don't get successful until you stop working. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going to tell you that right now. Colin Kaepernick said no more. Black men have been getting killed in the streets since the 1960s and even to the 1800s. Republicans gave us the Emancipation Proclamation. We weren't even freaking free to 2.5 years later. And even then, we were still slaves, because where the hell were we going to go? Colin Kaepernick had the balls to say no more.
So I agree with you in some aspects.
So where is that energy?
Right. And I saw a comment on here about systematic racism. I do not believe that exists.
Okay.
Hold on.
Because you're probably white passing.
Well, I did not interrupt you whenever you spoke.
Well, I can tell you this: the mere fact that you even said that shows me what type of black dude you are.
No, it means
you don't even think that you're black, probably.
it means that I believe that America is not the most racist country in the United States, and I also believe, with history, that the Americans did not have the worst or the most slaves in the world.
Who
And
made this a competition?
No, I'm not saying a competition. I'm saying that a lot of people say, "Oh, we were oppressed, we were colonized, we were this, we were that." Hold on, we were that, we were the third. Well, the thing is that only in America is that people that were colonized are getting some sort of reparations, some sort of reparations, such as Indian Americans who are, there is a Bureau of Indian Affairs that specifically pays them for their lands and everything else, right? So when people say, "Oh, America did this, that, and the third," why is it that it's only America that we feel so entitled that we are going to tell other Americans that you are going to pay me for my ancestors?
Easy.
I want
easy.
someone who has experienced slavery today to tell me exactly what it was like and what they want.
Okay, well, let me go get them because they are still here.
That's not going to be able to happen.
Let me tell you this. There are slaves still living today, still to this day.
Oh, there are?
Yeah, there is. There's actually one that I follow here on TikTok.
A slave.
Let me tell you something. You need to do the math. My great-grandmother just died and she was in the 90s, in her 90s, and she told me that her mother was a slave. Okay? So, mere fact is that the fact that you make light of slavery is very telling.
I don't think it's light. I'm not making light of it. I'm making it known that America wasn't the one that created slavery. Number one.
Let me ask you a question.
Number two, it wasn't only black or African Americans that were enslaved. It was also Chinese. It was also the Irish.
Oh, who cares? We're not talking about them. Who cares who cares about the other slaves? This whataboutism. This whataboutism. You know what you're doing? You know what you're doing?
We're only going to talk about African Americans.
Yeah, we're only going to talk about black people. Absolutely, because we don't do whataboutisms here. We don't.
No, it's not what about.
We're not going to do that. Because if you want to talk about the Chinese, then you need to go back to the Chinese dynasty and talk about their history. We're not going to go down the rabbit hole here. Right now, we're talking about African Americans in this country.
So and the reason why, African Americans from Africa and those tribes that actually sold their enemies into slavery.
So you think that?
No, it's not what I think.
No, you got to let me finish because I've let you talk.
Well,
well, listen, if you can't have a conversation, because right now, I'm going to tell you this.
Okay.
You're coming off as a biracial racist. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Definitely not racist.
Well, guess what? That's so sad because you're going to be racist against yourself. You don't even realize you're black. That's so sad to me. That's so sad to me that I have lived my whole life being told I was whitewashed because of the way that I speak and the way that my demeanor is, and the mere fact that I would never say not even a smidge of the things that you just said.
I don't understand.
I wouldn't even have the audacity. I wouldn't even have the. Let me say something. I grew up in. Let me tell you something.
In America,
you are literally the epitome of somebody that I feel sorry for. You literally don't even realize that you're black.
So someone that has fought for this country, lived in this country, fought for this country.
So I'm gonna bring somebody else here because I need somebody. I need a man. I need a black man, a real black man.
I'm not a black man.
To say something. No, you're not. You don't know that you're black. To be honest, I think you're living a white existence.
And so if somebody calls me a coon, then that's not racist?
I would never call you that. I would never call you that.
No. I said
I just think you're ignorant.
I didn't say you.
I never said, I would never say that word.
I didn't say you.
I said, let me say this. Someone. You have a problem with letting people talk, don't you? I would never say anything racist. I don't think that it's okay to call white people derogatory names. I don't think that it's good to call black people derogatory names. It's not okay to say the CRACE. Okay, I don't say those things. So you're in the right place.
Moderator.
I want to hear what this fella has to say.
Okay.
About what you just said.
How y'all doing tonight? My name is Jerome. and beloved brothers and sisters. Sir, yeah, you said a lot there. All right, I don't want to name call, but I don't know how to do this without name calling. I don't feel like you have as much of an understanding of history as you probably should. And I also think that for some reason you only want to talk about slavery as if though people can only have been oppressed if they actually experienced slavery, which is just that's ridiculous. I mean, people we do. You said you don't think you said systematic. You said you don't think systematic racism exists, and then you went on to describe something that has nothing to do with systematic racism. Systematic racism is it's a system of um, policies and or practices that are set up that are meant to discriminate against a specific race.
As a rebuttal,
systematic,
that's not what I said.
I'm sorry.
As a rebuttal, that's not what I said. We were having a conversation that was fluid, and it continued throughout the conversation, and then we moved to one topic to 2 to 3 to 4 topics. So okay. Yes, those are things.
Yeah, that's what you did because you like to derail.
Those
You're talking about the Chinese, man. I mean, matter of fact is, you're not an ally. You don't know anything about the history, and you don't know anything about yourself. And I feel sorry for you. Like we can't even debate you. You know nothing about you don't know anything. You haven't mentioned any points in debate. Where are your facts and not your emotions, bro? You want to talk about the Black Wall Street? I mean, you want to talk about slavery? Well, let's talk about oppression. I mean, slavery lasted for 246 years. Okay, so you don't think that affected our people? You don't think that affected our communities? You don't think that affected our real estate? Freaking redlining happened. Redlining where people couldn't even get mortgages.
Words, I am not black. You can't say our because I'm not black according to you.
No, you're not black.
Because of my outlook.
No. To be black, you have to know our history.
I don't know who you think you are to be able to take somebody's
You're not black.
unquote card.
You're not black. I don't know what you are.
Can I ask a question? Red, I think this started off. You said you were a police officer.
What'd you say?
I think the gentleman, Red, you're a police officer, right?
I am.
And that's terrifying.
A little bit.
Let's talk about that.
I don't.
You have said the most racist things I think I've ever heard this year, 2022. Yes, and you're a freaking cop, bro. So tell me right now.
That's very.
Do Black Lives Matter? Tell me right now. Do Black Lives Matter? Red Omega. Do Black Lives Matter?
It's very interesting that your own moderator.
Do Black Lives Matter?
I will answer your question. I find it very interesting that your own moderator, called me a raccoon. Number one.
Well, I'm sorry about that, sweetie. I'm so sorry.
But
do you believe that Black Lives Matter?
You said you wouldn't do it, but your moderator does. And
well, you know what? I can't control my moderators.
All lives matter.
All
See,
lives
okay,
matter.
I'm sorry. Can I hop in? Can I hop in here?
Yeah,
can I hop in here?
Ahead.
I think it's really sad. I think it is so incredibly sad that you would say that. Again, I don't want to insult, but it's like you don't understand the phrase "all lives matter" was started as a troll. It started as a comeback for us saying that your life matters. You don't have to look at me or whatever, but there are people out there trying to tell other people that your life matters because for centuries in this country, people have said your life didn't matter, but your life does matter, and somebody needed to stand up and say it. And then people are like, oh, well, I need to troll these people. I need to fight against them. So then they say all lives matter. So I think it's horribly sad that you would say that. That's my opinion. If you feel differently, please, say it. But that's sad. It's a troll, man. Okay.
The BLM is attached to a movement that was meant to bring forth justice from people that took the oath. Do you know what the police oath is?
I've taken the oath for the last 15 years.
So that should include that Black Lives Matter. You have a fiduciary duty, sir, to treat everyone equal. You have a fiduciary duty to put the people's needs above your own.
I don't
let
know
me
if
tell you
you
something.
follow the
The mere
Supreme
fact.
Court.
Let me tell you something. This is why I want to study law. I swear to God. You have to understand this, that race is a protected class. Black people are protected.
Race isn't the only protected class.
No freaking crap, bro. There's like 7 of them. But right now we're talking about black people right now. So what I'm saying is,
the thing
people,
is that you can't just say
black people. I'm telling you right now, you're breaking a Civil Rights Act law by even talking negatively about black people. Like, you don't get to do that as a cop.
Black people.
You have a fiduciary duty to treat all people in all races the same.
Which I do. All races.
Okay, well, but your ideologies, sir, your ideologies really don't align with freaking treating people equal.
What is my ideology?
Excuse me?
What is my ideology? Because you said
all lives matter.
When I said do Black Lives Matter,
you said all people the same. So I treat all people the same, and I want you to tell me what my ideology is whenever I treat all people the same.
Okay.
Your ideology is one of a troll. You troll black people. When you say all lives matter, you are trolling black people. So that's your ideology. Your ideology is that Black Lives Matter don't matter.
So
that's your ideology.
I'm black? How am I trolling black people?
Because you're literally creating content by refuting things that matter to us, including our damn lives.
My content? Like
right now we're creating content together. I don't know if you realize that. Well, there's 275 people here, and you're trying to get clout. You're trying to get my trolls to come over to your freaking racist freaking platform and reign supreme. You're probably a MAGA hat too. I'm pretty sure you're probably a MAGA hat.
Absolutely not. This is Texas. Not MAGA.
Well, Texas has been known to do some pretty horrible things to our people. Do you know that?
So Austin, San Antonio, Houston, those liberal locations are known to do those things?
When the emancipation, okay, let me tell you something. When slavery happened and the Emancipation Proclamation happened, guess where people went? Guess where they went?
But first, I would like to ask,
they went to freaking Texas, where they continued to do slavery.
Who started slavery?
Listen, it doesn't freaking matter.
No.
You know what? Who started slavery? You know what?
Yes. Who started slavery?
But slavery started thousands of years ago. I don't know.
Okay, so we're talking about.
He wants to talk about the Egyptian times. Now we're in freaking Egypt.
We're talking about thousands of years ago, and then now we're talking about we don't want to talk about who started slavery.
Red Omega.
This is the conversation that it.
No, I really want to give you. Can I just say something? Because you seem like a smart person. I just like I said, I'm not mad at you. I don't even want to yell at you. You came here. You wanted to have a conversation. I want to have that because I really want you to feel loved. Like, seriously, bro. It literally breaks my heart because I could have easily been you, like, to be honest. And I've lived in I was the only black person in my whole town. And so I was surrounded by people that talk like you. I have a picture right now I can show you with one of my best guy friends wrapped in sheets like he's in the KKK. And I was probably like 17 at the time. And you'll see me like pushing him away. But I just let them do the most racist things because I didn't have the balls enough to say something about it. So I just really am really grateful for TikTok for allowing me to be passionate about this so that I could read and understand where society goes wrong. I just think you just need to know a little bit more before you make your statements. I
think I am well aware of what happens in my country, where I can make a logical and a very educational decision into what I need to do. As a police officer, that's exactly what I have to do. Is that I have to assess the situation, apply the law, and present it.
So why are police breaking the law and going to jail for killing black men? Derek Chauvin is not the only cop who's in jail right now for killing people.
Box. You're putting police officers in a box. And me, as an individual that does internal investigations, I can assure you that it is not the whole of law enforcement where there is police officers that just walk free. That is.
Have you ever arrested a cop? Have you ever arrested a cop? Have you ever arrested another cop?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Sure.
He doesn't even believe systemic
Where?
racism. Like that's like common knowledge.
I do not believe
know.
this because I have not experienced racism in the military.
You're
in my
white.
small town of Texas that was made up of mostly white people, I have not experienced this racism.
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever found yourself in the middle of a tornado?
I'm from Texas, so yes.
You've been in the middle of a tornado?
I am from Texas, so we have tornadoes and hurricanes, both.
Okay. Have you ever touched the moon?
No. Why would I be on the moon?
I don't know. But do you believe it exists? I mean, that was what you just said. You don't believe systemic racism exists because you've never experienced racism in your small Texas town. That's nonsense. Stop. Let me finish. Let me finish this time. Sir, I'm not going to stop talking. You let me finish this time because you've been cutting her off the whole time. I'm going to keep talking. So let me finish. You know that in this country, there are policies and practices in place that discriminate against black folks. Well, then, like I said before, then you do need to study history a little bit more because there's redlining, there's racial profiling.
Police officer for 15 years, I need to study.
What does being a police officer? What does being a police officer have to do with history? What does being a police officer mean? How does you being a police officer mean you know history?
History is very important in the law, especially with the prior laws that have been judged on, whether it be at a federal or Supreme Court level. So it is very important that a law enforcement officer knows history.
Okay. But that seems like you don't. That's what I'm saying. You're
Why
claiming
don't I know history?
You don't know? Do you know about redlining?
Excuse me?
Do you know about redlining?
Please explain. I've never heard the term.
Oh, let me do it. I'm a realtor. Let me do it. Redlining is now illegal. You could get in big trouble if you do it. But redlining is when at one point they were not giving mortgages out to black people. Okay. Not only was there such thing as redlining, there's such thing as steering. Steering is when there were people that were in real estate that were pushing black people into certain areas. Not only was there steering, there's also a thing called blockbusting.
So that's happening now.
Steering. Let me just say this: blockbusting is when they would go to white towns.
No, is that happening now?
Blockbusting I'm asking a question is when they go to. I'm going to answer your question. I'm trying to educate right now for people that don't know because this is on the test for you guys who's taking the real estate test. Listen, blockbusting is when they would go to white towns and tell them, "Hey, other people are moving here, so therefore you might want to sell your house quick because the value on your house is going to depreciate." Okay, this is what's been happening, and guess what? There are laws in place. Okay, fair housing laws. HUD laws too that protect a lot of black people, but they don't really hold these companies and people accountable for some reason. I don't know why. They don't use consumer protection, which is why I try to educate as much as possible because there's so many laws, especially police that are breaking the law. You can go to consumer protection and make a case. Okay, a lot of people sue and get paid hefty amount of money for discrimination. Discrimination is illegal since 1964. Okay, so you asked me a question: is this still happening? You're saying is discrimination still happening today?
No, that's not what I said. I said, are those laws being broken today?
I don't believe that redlining is happening today. However, and I've told this to the black community that come, they don't want to hear it. Redlining has been done since 1968. However, the damage that has been done because of redlining still persists today. The red lines are still there.
And it goes deep. It goes deeper. It goes into the policing and it goes into education.
So you have to understand, for a long time, black people have been pushed into inner cities. Okay, it's prevalent. You can go to freaking inner city, you see nothing but black people. And you have to ask yourself, why are we only 30% of the population and we're stuck in these congested, not so freaking desirable freaking neighborhoods? It's because we've been pushed in there. And what they do is they created incubators, right, of crime and also lack of job opportunities. Okay.
Can I ask one question?
These cities are being overlooked and underfunded. And guess what? The average Black person, I'm going to tell you, it's not that we're not aware. We just are on a survival mode since freaking we got here, that we're not going to the source. We're marching. But what we need to stop doing is stop marching and go to the freaking town. And also our state senators, and get on them and make sure that things are being done fairly.
Can I ask one question?
That's systemic racism, bro. Yeah, go ahead.
So my question is, as far as the systemic racism and the pushing into the metropolitan areas, the city areas, what party is inherently
I don't give a damn about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm asking a question. What party inherently benefits from those individuals that will be broke, or those individuals that will not benefit?
The party is people who are majority dominating this country since we got here. 90% of the institutional power, white people benefit from.
So the Democrats?
No, because guess what?
Yes.
Democrats don't have a color.
Democrats do have a color, because they will always oppress Black Americans.
Guess what?
So that they can
I hate to break it to you.
Power.
Hey, guess what? I hate to break it to you.
Mm-hmm.
That realignment happened.
No, the realignment did not happen. The big changeover did not happen.
Guess what? If you want to deny the realignment, then you don't know your history.
I do know my
Let me tell you something. Every time Republicans say the Democrats are doing this racist stuff or whatever, it's not the Democrats. I'm letting you guys know.
Who created the KKK? It was the Democrats.
Guess what? They weren't
not
just,
the Republicans.
Guess what? They were not just the Democrats. They were the far right Dixie.
Who spoke at a Grandmaster's funeral?
Please do not
President Joe
that
Biden.
Part. Hey, Red, slow down.
I'm just saying.
It was not the Democrats.
Joe Biden didn't speak at a
Listen, no, you're talking about Joe Biden. We're not talking about Joe Biden.
No, he's a Democrat.
We're talking about the realignment now.
We're talking about the face of the Democrats.
You're unable to understand what I'm saying, because they can't.
People
that are far right wing rhetoric, your rhetoric is literally the reason why Black people have been dying and being oppressed in this country. It's really disgusting behavior. I need you to listen to me, because you've been lied to, and I don't think that is your fault. I think if you were raised by a strong Black woman, she would never let you talk the way that you do.
So you do not believe me as a mixed race? I was raised by
Is your mom Black? Is your mom Black?
No, you didn't say mother.
How the hell did I know that?
Time out.
How did I know that?
You did not say
maybe because I'm a Black mom,
and
we would never let you say half the things.
You did not say strong.
You would have got this book inside your head, boy.
Strong Black woman.
What I'm saying is, you don't know what that is. You don't know what that is.
I was raised by a strong Black woman, and that was my grandmother.
I don't think you were, because
that is your opinion.
The things that you say, I was raised by strong Black women.
Why? Because I believe in America, and I actually do.
No, because you believe in white supremacy.
I'm not brainwashed.
You were definitely brainwashed, unfortunately.
No, absolutely not.
But listen, we'll bring you back to light, dude. Hey, listen.
Who's we?
Who's we? Me and my God, Yeshua. Yeshua and all the angels that protect my body and brought you to me. That's why you are here for a freaking reason, because you're not being a good person,
God,
and you freaking know it. You know what? I believe
has brought me to this world, and I will continue to serve Him.
I believe that you know deep in your soul that if you were raised by a strong Black woman, that you're not being a good person.
Why?
Because you're literally spreading far right rhetoric.
It is not far right.
Pushing racist ideologies.
It is fact.
You want to know what's fact?
Yes.
The far right Dixiecrats created this whole movement with the KKK. They completely changed the rebel flag into now what is called the Confederate flag. That freaking the South likes to freaking gloat around. And guess what? A lot of Black people died because of that freaking flag and what it meant.
A lot of people died because of the Nazi flag as well.
And guess what?
If you want to
we're not talking about the Nazis.
White people.
We're not talking about now. We're in Germany
against white people.
Hey, guess what? They realigned with the Republican Party because the Republican Party did not want the civil rights movement. So a Democratic president named Lyndon B. Johnson.
It was it was actually Lincoln who
It's so
proposed
amazing to
the
me
freedom of
how
the
these
slaves.
people that are far right actually believe the lies. Listen, just be quiet for a second.
So Lincoln didn't propose to free the slaves?
Guess what? He also
As a
got shot in
Republican?
the head. And guess what? At a freaking
So
theater.
did MLK.
Guess what? I want you to know this. The Dixiecrats were far right Democrats who realigned with the Republican Party. They went to the DNC and they had the Confederate flag waving.
That's not correct. No.
It's literally mind-boggling that you don't see that Republicans are the original Democrats.
I can say vice versa to you as well.
There was a realignment. There was a realignment. And why would everything about what they say about the Democrats, you guys, if you guys are new to politics, everything that far right or right wing or conservatives say about Democrats, it is exactly what they do. They don't want the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party gave us the Civil Rights Act that freed us from freaking feeling if racism ended, it ended when Lyndon B. Johnson, a Democratic president, Lyndon B. Johnson, signed the Civil Rights Act.
Most racist president in office, noted. It has been recorded that what is his name? LJB, Lyndon Johnson.
Lyndon B. Johnson.
LBJ, there we go, is one of the most racist presidents.
Okay, let me show you guys. Let me show you guys how.
Hold on. You haven't commented on Abraham Lincoln.
Wait, hold on. And guess what Abraham Lincoln said, you guys? Guess what Abraham Lincoln said? Abraham Lincoln said that he would never nor ever be for the equality between blacks and whites.
No.
Yes, he did say that.
When did he say this?
Listen, I'm about to show you a picture of Lyndon B. Johnson, and it's very relative to today. Did you say that Lyndon B. Johnson was the most racist president?
I said one of the most racist.
They were all racist if you really want to be about it. So tell me when Americans been great. They pretty much were all racist, to be honest. All of them. Except for Obama. Instead of Obama.
Oh, sorry, my bad. The only black president was the one that wasn't racist, that did nothing for Black America.
Oh, he did nothing? Okay, so what is all the other? Guess what? So you don't even like the first black president. I mean, we were just happy to get a half black president. You don't even like. You don't even like the president. Is there anything about black people in a positive light that you could say? Can you say anything?
Are Americans.
No. I'm talking about culture.
White,
listen, I'm
yellow,
not talking about
purple, orange.
Listen, I'm talking about I'm talking about our culture. Black people are the culture.
I don't know
that are
you
attached
understand what
to
culture
Africa.
Is. Because if you are from America, your culture is American.
I'm sorry, I'm an African American woman. I don't know what the hell you are.
If you are born in America, you are black and you are American, and your culture is American.
So my culture is American. So with that comes Africans being brought here off of the shores of Africa, Angola to be specific, traveling all these miles away, becoming chattel, having to freaking be emancipated in 1865, and then even then the black code came into play where they were massively incarcerating black men that were slaves into the jail, which you want to know still persists to this day. Go do me a favor, Mr. Cop. Go see how much of our population is in jail out of this country.
Well, you should ask your vice president as to why there's so many black Americans, males, that are incarcerated because of her policies.
Yeah, well, guess what? It wasn't her policies. It was actually Bill Clinton. It was actually Bill Clinton's policy. It's called the Clinton Crime Bill. And guess what?
That was Joe Biden.
Guess what? Republicans, Joe Biden called the 1994 crime bill the wacko bill. And guess what?
One that created it.
I'm about to really bring you guys to light. Hey, Republicans, they wanted it to be stricter. And that's why Clinton did that. That's why a Democratic president, that's why he wanted it to be stricter. Because guess what? To win elections, you need both parties. You need Republicans and Democrats to win.
Well, obviously you don't with this last election.
Well, you know what? When you have a racist president, no one wanted to get him the hell out of there.
Who's and Trump. Trump is not
You guys,
racist.
Today is Martin Luther King Day. On the other side, You're very entertaining because you're so predictable. But you've not come here to be open minded. You've come here to just be
I'm very
cocky and
open-minded, but I
arrogant.
also need to be listened to.
There was no concept of race or a white race, which actually goes in line with what you are saying. Before the need to justify the enslavement of Africans. So there is a part of history that I think you're missing. That yes, your ideologies that we're all Americans is a very beautiful, utopic idea that we are in this country, we're all Americans, and that's the way that it should be. But we are a blended country, okay, with lots of different types of histories. And this in that history was the perpetuation of enslavement of Africans. Okay, that happened. And with that said, it created a separate and inferior Black race simultaneously that created a superior white race. This is a social contract that has been a part of the systems in place here in America. It has not been that long since the ideologies of a superior race and inferior race have been in effect. Okay, so not only 50 years ago, you want to talk about let's not talk about slaves. Let's talk about oppression. So 50 years ago, there was a law in place called the Jim Crow law, and this was a apartheid here in our country, where Black people were not allowed to be in certain areas where white people were. In fact, a young Black boy, Tillman, what's his name? He was killed because he whistled at a white girl, and he was beaten so bad that they couldn't even recognize his face. And right now there's a movie about it. Okay, so what you're doing is you're really skipping a lot of things that have had to happen and to come into play, including the death of Martin Luther King Jr., for people to wake up and understand that Black lives matter. But unfortunately, people have died for that ideology. So the fact that we would all be created equal, the fact that we were all Americans, but still to this day, it is not been brought to fruition. So what you're not understanding is we're not there yet. We have come a long way. And yes, one day that ideology that I could be an American and not a Black woman and have to put that on an application literally everywhere. They ask me if I'm applying for a mortgage, are you Black? I don't answer that. If you were Black here, if you're a person of color, you don't have to answer it. It says don't answer that. Okay? Because that's how they could redlining against you.
You know why it's there, right?
Because there could be, in defense, there could be some type of programs that could help you out with getting a mortgage or things of that nature. I am a full-time realtor. I am telling you right now.
It's only okay if it's beneficial, but if it's not okay, then it's oppression.
What I'm telling you right now.
No.
What I'm telling you right now, the fact that you even want to give an option for discrimination is something you need to rethink.
It's not an option.
Circle back. Let me tell you something. If there is a benefit, listen, I honestly have not seen anybody in my career, and I'm in the real estate career, and
so is my family.
Okay, oh, that's wonderful. I really love that. What I think is amazing is the mere fact that all these racist things have happened. So if they have an opportunity to basically rewrite the wrongs, because that's what needs to be done. I have not seen these programs in place. I've seen the FHA, which was a part of the New Deal, which Republicans were completely against. The FHA program was meant to help people that can't afford the 20% down to get houses. The FHA is a wonderful thing. That was from the New Deal. Republicans never wanted it. But I have never seen, other than the FHA, there are some other programs. If I'm not a mortgage lender, but I have not seen anybody get a Black fund to buy a house.
So let me ask a question. Then I'm going to change it up. When is it, okay, in America, when is it that the Black Americans are okay and it is acceptable to say we no longer believe that there is systematic racism and we no longer believe that there is oppression in America? When does that happen?
When it stops.
When does it stop? Who stops it?
White people have got to stop it. There's just
Why is it just white people?
Because it's simple. You
well,
have
white people
okay.
In the next
You're
few years are going
you're
to be
a smart
the
guy.
minority.
You went to school. You're
white
educated.
people are going to be the minority.
Can I give you the answer? It's literally.
Hold on, time
Stop
out.
interrupting
White people are
her.
going to be the minority in a couple of years. White people are going to be the minority. So why is
That's
it that
not
the white
true.
people who
That's
are going
not
to be the
even physically
minority
possible.
are the ones that have to say that it's going to stop?
Listen to me. The reason why white people need to fix it, and I love all you white savers. If somebody tries to tell you you're a white saver and is trying to make it negative, screw them. Please keep saving us. Just like the abolitionists, and as well as people that were part of the Underground Railroad, white people don't get enough credit for helping black people out. I'm telling you, there has been more white people that are for us, like the North, that fought the South, that don't get enough freaking credit because we pay too much attention to the ignorant ones down south or whatever the hell. It's because of numbers, okay? That's it. Black people are minorities. We're only 13% of the population. And Hispanics are right under us. And I believe Hispanics get just as much discriminated as black people. And they're less
Actually,
in the population.
I'm Hispanic.
Oh, you're
I'm
Hispanic?
Latin, and yeah. And I really appreciate what you're talking about here. And I need to ask like the guy that is like below me on the guest to stop interrupting me or her, because it's extremely condescending, and it just shows that you're just interested in talking but not actually listening. Like you're just responding, and that doesn't get us anywhere. So you are all about Blue Lives Matter, but not Black Lives Matter, right?
Nobody said that Blue Lives Matter. I never said that, and that is
Okay, but you are okay, but you advocate against Black Lives Matter, don't you?
I said all lives matter. I didn't advocate against. I
Okay,
said that
so let
every
me
life
tell you
matters.
something. Okay, so let me tell you something. I understand that you say that all lives matter. And of course, that by saying that, you don't necessarily think that that will have any impact. But guess what? It does.
Yes.
Because Black Lives Matter, because all lives cannot matter until Black Lives Matter. Okay?
Can I ask a
And
question?
the thing here is that it's not about, wait, it's not about excluding other people from the conversation, and it's not about like, what about me? Like, why are people talking about like Black Lives Matter but not mine? Like, why aren't they talking about me? And it's not that they're not talking about them, it's that they're not necessarily targeted for racial reasons, you know? Like, it's not, by saying Black Lives Matter, you're not saying that all lives don't matter. You're just saying that all lives cannot matter until Black Lives Matter, because people get killed for being black. Do you
So
get that?
can I ask a quick question real quick? Let me do a hypothetical, okay? As a law enforcement
No,
officer,
don't do hypotheticals. Do what's happening.
No, we have to do a hypothetical because you brought it up as far as all lives don't matter. It has to be Black Lives Matters first. You said it, so I'm going to bring up a hypothetical. Hypothetical, I'm a law enforcement officer. There's a black person, a Hispanic person, a white person, and an Asian person. Whenever those individuals, all four of them, are in danger, who do I save first? By society, do I have to save the black person first because their life matters before everybody else? Or do I have to equally try to prevent all four of them from getting hurt? Or do I have to choose a race before I choose any individual life?
I think you are just twisting. You're twisting my words. Don't twist them.
Okay,
yes,
let me
you
say
are,
this.
because
Let me
you
say this.
totally are.
Let me say this.
do not
Let me
try
say
to
this.
put it in
Let me
a
say this.
position.
Let me say this. You're right. You're supposed to treat everyone fairly. That's that fiduciary duty thing that I was talking about. Race is a protected class. You shouldn't be choosing who's better or not. But that also goes on a societal level. How can you make prudent choices when your ideologies are not aligned morally with what? Let me finish. You're on the right track as far as trying to be like a good human being. But the mere fact is you're not recognizing that black men are disproportionately affected due to systemic racism. Are disproportionate, not only black people, even Latinos. This is true. Are disproportionately affected immensely, especially due to police brutality. So do you not think that police brutality exists? And did you know
as a person that conducts investigations on police brutality as a investigations lieutenant, I understand.
Just say yes or no. It's not that hard.
I didn't. I'm answering a question, so if you allow me to answer.
He's mixed.
As a person that has done investigations on police brutality, number one, it does happen, but they're held accountable. Number two, I don't think you understand a police officer's split-second decision that we have to make in the moment. We don't have the time to take into account society's feelings. We don't have to take into account somebody's thought process as far as this versus that versus this versus the third. We have to say in a 0.2 less than, we have to eliminate the situation and make sure everybody is
Guess
safe.
what? I hate to break it to you. I hate to break it to you. I am a pro gun control activist, and my dream is to go to police stations. I'm with an officer, and he freaking talks just like you do. I think it's amazing to me. I think you guys have been poorly trained. That is not what you're there for. You are not there to eliminate a problem. I think you just stated what the issue is that these police officers are being trained to eliminate an issue that might not need to be eliminated. You guys are escalating a lot of these scenarios. For instance, Elijah McClain, he had the right to remain silent. There are laws in place that protect these quote unquote criminals. Okay, for you to sit there and just think somebody's a freaking criminal. Let me tell you something. The fact that you think that every scenario, every call is a freaking code red is a problem.
That was a hypothetical. And in that hypothetical,
your hypothetical is very telling.
You cannot say that if there's a person with a gun to somebody's face, you can't say that I'm escalating the situation.
What I'm telling you is, if a black man is in a car.
No.
Excuse me. No, you got to throw. No, you don't throw race out of it. If a black man, you can't throw race out of it because racism. Okay,
let her speak, dude.
Okay, so if you don't see color, then you're quick to freaking shoot anybody. So you're freaking reckless to me. Okay, listen to me.
I'm looking at the situation. If somebody has a gun to your face, what do you want me to do?
All right, okay, but why do you think Why do you think?
What do you want me to do?
Hold on. Why do you think that every scenario is going to be gun related, bro?
Because
not everything is
increase in Chicago.
There was a young teenager that just got shot. I'm pretty sure you guys know. The lady accidentally pulled a taser. She thought she was supposed to pull a taser. She yelled taser, taser, and it turned out to be a gun and killed this young boy over something petty. He did have a warrant or whatnot, but she killed him, a teenager, and he was biracial. It's kind of amazing to me. I don't think you guys are being trained right. It's very concerning. How can you tell me this? Can you answer me this? Can you answer me this? How do you confuse a taser with a real gun?
I wasn't.
Yeah, that's basically bad training.
That's poor training.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
I don't think that there. Yeah, go ahead.
Dude, let me answer to you like the question you gave me before, because somebody said on the comments like she cannot answer that, and I didn't get to answer because she just talks over us. That's what is going on. So like I was saying that you were twisting my words, because if you are in a place in which there are different races, and like if you advocate for Black Lives Matter and then you say like, oh, who's gonna be safe? Let me break it to you. Even if I advocate for Black Lives Matter, the one white person in the room tends to be safe more than the other ones. Like no, it's not incorrect. But like, how is it incorrect?
Because I've been doing law enforcement for 15 years and I've never chose a race over somebody else. And neither have
just because you specifically just because you specifically don't actively do that, you cannot deny or erase a whole historical and systematic problem. You don't have that power.
Not me personally, or any investigations that I've conducted in my 15 years across the nation.
Hey, guess what, Red? It's not about you though. So just because you're doing what you're supposed to do, quote unquote, guess what?
My experience.
Your experience to me is not a realistic experience. You basically said that you live because do you live in like a predominant black town? Do you serve?
I work for hold on, time out. I work for the federal government, and I've worked across the nation and overseas, to include Germany. So I've worked every single type of demographic and community that you can think of.
Okay, so then you would understand that in those demographics there are different cultures and different races.
No. If you are from America and you're born in America, you have American culture.
Okay, no, you don't, bro. From. That's like the most false thing I've ever heard. There's so many cultures in America. It's freaking amazing to me.
There's no such thing as American culture. There are Black cultures, there are Latin cultures. There aren't like American cultures, because that will be basically white culture, which doesn't exist. And I don't care if you disagree on that. Like, honey,
I do.
your culture, what
Because
is it? What's your culture? Walmart?
Spaniards,
Like, what's your
the
culture?
Spaniards took over what? Spaniards took over the Mayans in what's now Mexico, and then Mexico tried to take over Texas, and they
No.
migrated into
Sorry,
America.
but
So
Texas
what
was
is that?
stolen from Mexico. Sorry, but
Excuse me?
Mexico, like, yeah, sorry, but Mexico lost half of the territory because of a war between the U.S. and Mexico. Get your facts straight. The land
No.
was stolen from us.
Yeah, but by who? How many people? How many countries tried to take over Mexico and take it from the Indians?
Have you heard what Indians, bro? You didn't just say Indians. They were Native
Native
Americans,
Americans.
first of all.
No,
Like,
Mayans. Do you know that
bro.
the Mayans were in today's Mexico, right?
No,
Oh,
no
yeah.
mames.
Yeah.
A ver, bro, listen to me, okay?
One, I'm
Facts
not your
straight
bro.
in your history, right? Because, okay, guy, you're getting your facts just
You're
wrong,
misgendering me.
okay?
Please don't do that.
What
Oh
are
my
your
God.
pronouns?
I can't.
Oh, here we go. I opened up a door.
What are your pronouns then?
Yeah,
If I'm
what are your
misgendering
pronouns?
you,
No, I really want to know too.
No, my
yeah,
pronouns
what are
are
your
as you see
pronouns?
me, because I don't do that shit.
Oh, okay. So you're on both sides then. Okay,
So
cool.
you just want to fight. So you just want to fight. That's
No,
why you're saying
I
that.
don't want to
Like,
fight, but I don't understand that you
you
don't
just called
know
me out
that
on pronouns. I
Spaniards
asked you, and then you called us
invaded
like
Mexico
stupid for
and
asking.
then tried to destroy the Mayans. Actually, they did destroy the Mayans in all
Actually,
of
Mayan culture
their
is still alive
documentation.
today. If you didn't know,
Who
honey.
did?
I'm not. I'm not calling you honey again, guy. Whatever pronoun, guy. I don't care. I don't know what's your name. But let me tell you, you are not going to come here and try to teach me as a Mexican
I'm
about
not
my
teaching
own
you.
history.
I'm
Yes, you
informing
are
you.
trying to teach me. You cannot
Yeah.
teach what
I'm not
literally
teaching.
about like
I'm
my
not a
own
teacher.
history in my own country. You cannot simply do that. You
And
know,
so you can't
and more
simply
and
tell
more
me that
so
there's
and more
not
so.
American
Listen to
culture.
me. Listen
It's
to
a
me.
two.
And more
Hold on, it's
so.
a twofer.
Listen to
If you're
me.
saying that I
And more
can't
so,
tell
when Latin
you,
Americans
then
are
you
being
can't tell
targeted in
me
the
as an
U.S.
American
are
that there's no
and in
Okay,
other
culture.
countries.
can you let her speak, because I don't want us to continue to keep going back without having some type of information.
Okay.
Let her educate you for a second on
Okay.
on
Yeah.
what her
If you're going
perspective
to
is.
if you're going to be unbiased, then certain words probably shouldn't be used. So the thing is that if somebody's going to try to inform me of America, but is from Mexico, but I can't inform them of Mexico, then it should be
Okay, touche. But can we hear
okay.
her perspective? Okay, so basically what he said was that a lot of people try to take over Mexico. I thought Mexico is sovereign. They're not a part of America. What are you talking about?
I'm saying about at the beginning, whenever the Mayans and the Indians
But
lived
how is that
in
relevant? How,
today's
Mayan culture is
Mexico.
still alive today, dude. Mayan culture is still alive today.
okay.
They're not
In
completely gone.
today's
If you didn't
Mexico.
know.
Okay, well, did you know that what she was talking about before? I've lost what she was trying to say, which I thought was very important. That it's not only black people that are affected due to police brutality; it's also Latinos for a long time.
Yeah.
Have been
White
also
people too.
targeted, and exactly, absolutely. Do you know that there was a white guy that I actually made a whole video on? He got the same treatment as George Floyd. He got a knee in his neck and he died, and he didn't get a hashtag, and nobody even talked about him. So my point is
Yeah.
this: police brutality is a real issue, okay, and it needs to be addressed, not defended. You understand? The cops don't need people sticking up for bad cops here. I mean, it should be imperative that the Blue Lives Matter movement that created, obviously, because the BLM decided to come through, and they should be conjoined. That's my whole point, is that there shouldn't be Blue Lives Matter versus Blue Lives Matter. And the fact that they freaking stole our acronym is freaking amazing to me. They should be together.
Yeah.
So did I stand up for bad cops? By the way, did I say that?
Well, what you don't do is defend for the people that have been victims of police brutality.
Actually, I do, as a lieutenant that does internal affairs.
Well, did you
And I
realize that a lot of these people that are winning these cases, these families are winning these cases because they've been killed merely for the mere fact that they have been maybe falsely profiled and killed
who
because they are
creates
black or
the
brown?
laws? Who creates the laws?
Who creates the laws? I guess the
Yeah.
people in the Congress, Senate, everybody.
Legislation.
Legislation.
So
Okay.
the people of America elect individuals to make laws.
Okay.
Civics 101. And then law enforcement is there to enforce the laws that the people elected the individuals to make.
I would say Congress, right? Because they're the one that actually pass things.
Yeah, that's legislation, Congress,
Okay.
yes. So we, as the face, are always persecuted, not the people that actually make
Sorry,
the
sweetie.
law.
You can come back. I'm just trying to get more people here since he is the star co-host. Listen, I just want to say this. I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate
I
being
don't
here.
think that you're a bad guy. I think you're getting a lot of clout right now. I think there's a lot
And
of people.
I don't
I
need
think
clout.
that a lot of people agree with you, but unfortunately, I believe that you don't realize that there is you are a black man in this country, whether you're
I
biracial
do
or not.
realize it.
And I don't think that you realize that the people that you're kind of like coddling is people that
Who am I
are
coddling?
white supremacists.
And who are those white supremacists that I'm
Any
coddling?
person who's not capable of understanding that the BLM was about injustice within our communities.
So any person in America.
Disproportionately affects our people.
Because
Disproportionately.
BLM is specifically known to have cost billions of dollars across America last summer.
Prove it.
BLM and
Prove
Antifa?
it. Prove it.
I don't need to
prove it
because it's
prove
there.
Prove it.
It's
I want to
there.
see the receipts. Any person that says that BLM caused millions and millions of freaking listen, I'm a businesswoman. Okay, I want the receipts.
Who can play that game?
Let's see the receipts.
I need the same receipts for the insurrection.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And I can tell you right now that costs $30 million. So
$30 million over billions.
30 million. And honestly, I don't see billions of dollars of damage. When
individuals are trying to catch a car on fire with two police officers inside and close the doors and block the doors,
listen, you want to do a tit for tat? Somebody took
to catch it on fire?
MAGA has to say Blue Lives Matter. One of them took a freaking fire hydrant and hit a man on the head that was a cop named Brian Sitnick, and he freaking died on January 6th. Yeah, he died.
A fire hydrant?
I don't know, but watch the video because it's all videotaped. Yeah,
a fire hydrant.
Yeah, a fire hydrant.
Can I ask how should I address you real quick? I don't know how should I can't see your name very well.
That's Red Omega.
I can't see your name very well. It's like very small. My vision.
Oh, I'm Andrea.
Andrea. Okay, my name is Matthew. I am a BU master's degree in social work.
Cool.
I just. I was listening to the conversation. Today is a very important day for me. I think for everyone in America, because it was a huge changing point. It was a huge. I would say it was the point that started to boil over, where there was a lot of problems that we had to fix. And I've been listening for a while. I've been on the queue for a while, but I actually relate to both of you very, very well. I relate to Red because I'm a veteran, and I know the difficult positions that you're talking about. I do feel, though, you don't articulate it as well as you could. Just my opinion. I understand them. I really understand them and the thought behind them. But then I really, really, really relate to, it's Andrea, right? I want to make sure I got that right. Okay.
Yeah,
really?
Andrea, the Andrea show. Yeah.
I really relate to you because everything that you're saying has been my world for the last 10 years. Like between the education, between leaving the Marine Corps, between going through all of these changes with my family. I come from a very multiracial family, Caucasian, African-American, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rican, very mixed. And I see that, things like microaggressions, how they affect you, but how other people don't see when they're doing them. You know what I mean? They don't pick up on them, quote unquote, like this kind of shit, like condescending. Although I understand the emphasis, Red, on what you're trying to say as well. So it's a very particular spot.
Colonized.
Yes, that you see what I'm saying. So I get that. I saw that as soon as it happened, and I think that's why the other gentleman may have just I'm gone. But my main thing I wanted to say, just jumping in, is this: both sides, I feel, have something very important to contribute because it's about experience. It's about, I think about like a pie, right? We're talking about making amends, and we only have this many resources to make amends. And every single time we got to rip off a piece to make amends for somebody else, we are left with little. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's not going to like it, which means progress is slow. You know, people are Caucasian. I'm so tired of hearing white people complain about, oh, we're the villains. We're all villains. We're all the villains. I was born 30 years ago. I had nothing to do with this. But they do, to a degree, when it comes to how racism has progressed in America. And then on the same note, though, I can also understand where it's like, well, they don't understand because they just spawned into this world during this chaotic time frame. And they haven't seen it with their own eyes.
Who's they?
Everyone. People are younger. People are younger nowadays, even more so. It's harder. That's why when I see younger people jump in and are more ambitious about this, it makes me excited about it because they want to have a conversation.
Right,
but
good.
A lot of white men and white people in general, I'll say white men, I'll target white men a little. Sorry. There's a lot of, well, I'm not racist, so what the fuck are you, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And I'm sick and tired. I've been in the university so long. That's what I hear. 2 seconds. Talk about the Jim Crow book that we read, day one. Every white person in the room wants to be like, the Jim Crow laws are not the same. Or you guys are talking about redlining, right? Well, but the effects of redlining, like,
yeah.
Can we really? I mean, here's the thing, Red. I agree with you that we are so severely progressed, which is good, but there are some severe effects from the nasty legacy of racism that's been left behind, and that is where
can I just say this real quick? Severely progressed from what?
Severely progressed from, instead of doing what we were doing 50 years ago, we've come quite a way.
So severely, that's very important that you understand what severely, what that progression is. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you think we're severely progressed from what? From what? For centuries of people. For centuries of people. Listen, 50 years ago, 50 years ago, listen, you know what aversive racism is?
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what adversive racism is?
Yes, I was going to say,
that's what you are doing here.
No. Listen, I was going to get to that. I was going to get to that mindset.
So just so you guys know, an aversive racism is a manifestation of racism that is well-intentioned people who see themselves as educated and progressive and are more likely to exhibit. It exists under the surface of consciousness because it conflicts with consciously held beliefs of racial equity and justice. Both these men, let me just say this. I just wanted to identify you guys. Both these men embody aversive racism. No, it's kind of amazing to me.
Quick question.
You should read the book called White Fragility.
Real quick. So as far as adverse,
you are definitely aversive racist.
No. So let me ask you a question. So to those people that say that blacks in America can't go to a DMV and get a ID card to vote, are those adverse racist individuals?
No, that's not what she's talking about, Red. That's what.
No, that is exactly what the definition.
No. That's not what I'm telling. What I'm telling you is, Red, you are the definition of an aversive racist person. And unfortunately, I feel like, sir, you are too.
I'm able to go to my Christmas parties. I'm able to go to birthday parties. I'm able to go to.
Yeah, but you're also very self-centered, Red. Red. I hate to say this to you. But you are so self-centered when it comes to societal debates that we've been having.
Self-centered? No,
absolutely self-centered. You have made racism historically and currently in this country, the United States of America, all about red_omega.
Okay, so but wait, but
wow. I finish that? Your experience, your thoughts, your opinions.
I think
you have not been open. You have not been open.
Andrea show.
It is the Andrea show. Absolutely. And guess what? I love talking to people like you because I feel like you can be at least planted seeds within your spirit in order for you to understand a different perspective. You haven't been able to ascertain any other type of feedback with anybody who's had a different experience than you outside
My
of freaking
spirit's
Texas.
fine because I was raised by a strong black woman, which is my grandmother, which is Southern Baptist.
Okay,
So
well,
I understand the spirit, and for you to say that I wasn't
You're
raised by a
literally
strong
a
black
far
woman
right.
is
You're
very, very
literally.
condescending.
Oh, you know what's condescending? Everything that you freaking said about black people. Okay, you
And what's
literally.
that?
What? Black lives
What
matter.
happened?
All lives matter. Like get the hell
All
out of
lives
here with
do
that.
matter.
Listen, you
Because I
spread.
cannot choose race whenever it comes to my
Guess
job.
what, Red? You spread far right talking points.
But right,
Are part of a racist error.
Happening. It doesn't.
And a
happen.
part of the system.
I'm not.
Listen, a part of the system that is continuing to perpetuate that old ideology of make America great again when it hasn't even been that great past 50 years.
Nobody even said anything about make America great again. I said nothing about it.
Okay, let me just go ahead, talk.
Okay, I only want to finish the thought. When I said massive gains, I'm not talking
Like
about
what?
I'm talking about black people.
Be careful because you're going to be the new target. It's not going to be me.
But you like being the target. You like being the villain. It makes you feel good, doesn't it? I know because you're so consistent.
You're getting massive numbers because I'm on here.
Listen, if you want to listen, you think I'm getting paid for this?
No, I didn't say paid. I said
I'm getting cents on the freaking dollars, dude. I'm literally here.
Nobody said anything about being paid. I said you're getting massive numbers because
you said
in your own words, I am popular on this
if you want a popularity of being a biracial racist, bro, good for you. I don't want that title. And a cop too.
I'm going off what you
Let
said.
him talk, Red. Okay, what do you have to say, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All I was trying to say is, and I say we because I include my family. Okay, I've seen so much issues that I can't process as a kid myself. Growing up with my cousins and my grandparents and people bashing us because, in my area, at least, my grandmother and my grandfather were one of the first, multiracial marriages, one of the first. So I say when I say we, I mean black people in general, but I say we because I stand with the progression that we've made. We've made severe strides to punch up.
Punch up for what? For people to be treated like human beings here in this country?
Hey, Andrea, just a little caveat, okay? Just a little caveat.
That is
just a little caveat.
If you ain't got no wine with your caveat, I don't want your goddamn caveat.
Just a little bit. Everybody's here saying that we should get married.
Oh God.
Enemies,
Enemies
to lovers.
No.
That's the trend right now. Enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
What they're saying.
You know what? I feel like I'm in second grade, and there's a boy that's making fun of you, and you kick him. You know what I'm saying? Like, what grade are we in? Listen, back to he's just enjoying it. You just like being the villain. Let me just say this. You even have an evil laugh. Let me just say this. I understand that you two men want everybody to have this type of equal playing field. You think that we've gone so far, and guess what? A lot of people have gotten far. I am about to open up my own real estate company. I am so blessed to freaking have gotten myself to a point. I'm from an island originally. I study. I work very hard in this country to not work for a 9 to 5. I'm telling you right now, the 9 to 5 is the classism is a whole nother issue that affects literally everybody. Racism literally protects classism. Okay. So I'm happy that I was able to be educated enough to understand that working 9 to 5 and having people talk down to me all day and having to put 30, 40, 50, maybe even 60 years into a company that's literally giving me crumbs on the freaking dollar, that wasn't good for me. So I started getting into real estate and realized that, dang, I can make this much off of one sale. So it was wonderful. But guess what? It's not about Andrea. Yes, I live in a very good town. We're about to move into a bigger house. I have a good life, but it's not about me. I literally have to serve because I literally have a fiduciary duty to serve everyone in different demographics. I live in Connecticut. I live in, a middle class town, but next to me, is these predominant black cities are freaking suffering. You would think that we have rewinded time. Go let me know how old Connecticut is. I'm telling you, I've been in houses so old, it went through 3, 4, freaking 5 generations. I'm talking 1800 freaking colonials. Georgian.
All right.
Okay?
But here,
Old
here,
up. And let me just say this. What you are not understanding is outside of the lines of where you live, black people mostly, and white people in some areas too, are still hurting due to systemic racism, due to police brutality, due to underfunded education, due to overlooked communities.
and
Okay, still
and we need
till this
all.
day.
That's the problem. We have. That's what I was trying to allude to. We have plenty of people who weren't willing to do much or couldn't do much. I would say, I would argue, weren't willing and couldn't. Because here's the thing: we had people so scared 50 years ago to join a march. Or no, sorry, now we're like 60 years ago to join a march because they thought they were going to get killed, and some people were killed, beaten, and put in prison. I mean, I'm saying
Yeah,
that
including Martin Luther King Jr.
because of that.
That was a reach.
We've got a point where we've got
It's
progression
true.
to we have pretty much people shouting and screaming.
That was a reach.
But
Not
without
really.
every
No, that's exactly what happened.
No, it was a reach.
Martin Luther King Jr. 60 years ago was thrown in jail. He was beaten. He was freaking being watched by the FBI, and he was murdered for being a civil rights leader.
yeah, Selma.
Oh, so who was it that was in office during that time?
Who gives a shit?
But
I mean,
Let me tell you something. Why do you
because if
listen?
you go off of conspiracy
point.
theories, who killed
No,
Martin
it's not a
Luther King?
conspiracy
And the
theory.
conspiracy
Let me just
theory
say this.
is that was the government.
Let me say this. You are ignoring
Nope,
white
not ignoring
supremacy.
anything.
You are ignoring white supremacy, and that includes the
No.
majority of the white race. I'm sorry.
I said
I'm not
in today's
sorry.
society, there is
Especially
not
in the
systemic
South.
racism. What's
Hey,
there at a point? Sure.
listen,
Yes,
I'm
there
going to say
was.
this. I believe that racism is a part of the white culture. I said it, and I don't care.
Are black
What
people
other
not
race?
racist?
What other race would enslave
I'm
a
not
whole? Would
with that.
enslave black
We just opened
people
up a
for
door. Let's go.
246 years, and then people have the audacity.
Are black people not racist?
Well,
No,
I'm
they
not.
can't be racist. You want to know
Oh,
why?
Why can't black people be racist?
Listen, hold on.
No. Why can't black people be
Oh,
racist?
wait. I will say I
No,
do.
I asked the question.
Okay,
I asked
you
the
can come
question.
back, dude. Let me tell you this.
Why can't black people be
Guess
racist?
what? You want to learn because I read societal books. You didn't.
Okay.
You should though.
Okay.
There's tons. There's how to be an anti-racist. There's white fragility that I've been picking up. We've been talking. There is justice. There is stamped. Like you gotta
So,
read, bro.
to answer my question,
So to answer your question, black people cannot be racist. And I, at one point, if you guys go down to my earlier TikToks, I used to think the same way. I used to think that black people could be racist. How could they not be racist? Because it's based off of just hating somebody because of the color of their skin. That is not called race. That's not racism. That is called being prejudiced. Yes, black people can be prejudiced. But if you really know the context of what it means to be racist, listen, I can hate you all day. That's not going to stop a whole race from getting jobs. That's not going to stop a whole race from being able to have equity and equal treatment in this country.
Hold
Okay,
on.
racism.
Black people
Hold on.
didn't kill
Let me
white
tell you.
people
Let me tell you this.
because of race?
Racism can only be done by people in power. Okay, it doesn't have to be a race. It could just be the elites. It is a dominance of numbers that
decides the
align
power?
with the same ideologies that have racist policies that keep and infuriate a certain group and marginalize them.
Who
That
decides
is
the
thinking.
power?
That is racism. The mere
Who decides
fact.
the power?
Listen, I
Who
can
decides the power?
listen. Guess how much not let me see 90% of the institutional power is ran by white people.
Does
I
it
don't
have to
think
be
you understand
institutional?
numbers. I don't think
No,
you
hold
understand
on.
numbers because
No,
listen,
I think you're giving the word power
I don't
too
think
much.
you
I
understand
think you're giving
how
it too
numbers work.
much.
Okay.
I think you're giving the word power too much of a big definition because anybody can have power.
I saw the people in the Congress. There was like one black dude. I think
What
there's like
Congress?
how many black people are in our Congress today?
Okay, so
I think
you
there's
say
a congresswoman.
hold on.
Okay, tell me
Congress
how many black people are, because you're not understanding numbers and
No, I need you
dominating
to
in numbers.
I need for you to be more specific. When you say Congress, that includes the House and the Senate.
Okay,
So in which
listen,
parts are you speaking of?
listen. Okay, race scholars use the term white supremacy to describe a social, political, economical system of domination based on racial categories that benefits those defined and perceived as white. The system of structural power privileges centralizes and elevates white people as a group. There's an elevation because of dominance, okay, with people that have the same standards, same cultures, and things of that nature. There is a benefit, okay. For example, we look at racial breakdown of people who
Are we
hold
just
on,
gonna
let
read?
me read to you. Yeah, because I'm about education.
I don't
If you're not able
please
to ascertain knowledge, because
hold
I'm
on.
about to tell you something. Hold on.
Please do not
For example, we
read
look
to
at
me.
racial breakdown of the
I can
people.
read
Okay,
myself.
you literally need,
If
I
you
need to
want
read to you like a little baby.
paraphrase,
Shush your face, bro. Listen,
if you want to
we look at,
paraphrase,
this is not about you. There's other people in here that could be educated. Shush. We look at racial breakdown of people who control our institutions. We see telling telling numbers in 2016 to 2017. 10 richest Americans, 100% white, among of whom are among the 10 richest in the world. U.S. Congress, 90% white. U.S. governors, 96% white. Top military advisors, 100% white. President and
that's
vice
incorrect.
president, and this is from 2016 to 2017. President and vice president at that time was 100% white, but due to a recent Kamala Harris, that has changed, and as well as
No, that's
Obama.
incorrect. They were
Listen,
not 100% white.
2016 to 2017.
Different.
Okay, U.S. House Freedom Caucus, 99% white. Current U.S. presidential cabinet, 91% white. People who decide which TV shows we see, 93% white. People who decide which books we read, 90% white. People who decide which news is covered, 85% white. People who decide which music is produced, 95% white. People who direct the 100 top grossing films of all time worldwide, 95% white. Teachers, 82% white. Full-time college professors, 84% white. Owners of men's professional football teams, 97% white. And guess who dominates most of the crime? 70% white. Y'all didn't think I was going to throw that one in there? Hello. These numbers are not describing minor organizations, nor are these institutions special interest groups. The groups listed above are the most powerful in the country. You don't think that has freaking elevation and benefits?
That's not what I said.
So if you were to flip that number to now 90% of all the institutional power being run by black folks, could you imagine our Congress being ran like the freaking NFL, where black people are dominating it? Don't you think the
but owned
standards
by
in
white
America?
people.
Don't you think the standards in America would flip?
No, I
You don't think so? You don't think
Because
black people would
own
make
the slaves.
reparations a freaking law immediately? Make sure that these underfunded cities would be rebuilt and fixed?
So they tried to do that when they defunded the police and failed miserably.
Well, why would they defund it? Why would they want to defund the police?
I wonder.
Are we trying to defund doctors? Are we trying to defund social workers? No, they're trying to defund the police. Why?
Yeah, I asked the same question.
Why? You don't even know why? Why
I
would
think,
black people who need cops, especially in our cities, because they're being plagued with gun violence? I don't know if you know
they're
this.
being manipulated by the people that they elected.
You think that black people in Chicago really give a damn about who's in the Senate seats?
Yes.
No, they don't.
Because
I'm
that's
telling you,
who
they
gives
don't.
them
They
free
don't care.
money.
Culturally, we don't really
Yeah,
care.
because
No,
that's who
black
gives them free
people
money.
don't care about who's running
Yeah.
in the freaking Senate
Oh,
seats in Congress.
yeah,
what
they
we care
do.
about is getting jobs, being able to take care of
Who's
our families.
we? You don't live in the impoverished areas. You
Guess
just said
what?
it yourself.
I live right next to it, bro.
Oh, me too.
I live right next to it, literally
Right next
10
to it.
minutes away. And my
Yeah.
fiance, if you didn't know, works in the jail. He works at the prison. That's right
he's
in
a
the.
police
That's
officer.
right. He's a CO,
A
and
police officer.
basically, and he literally is in a prison that's right in the middle of residential homes,
Okay.
and right next
So,
to an elementary school.
Black people are always, historically, have been taken advantage of by the Democratic Party who always needs the
So what is the
impoverished
Republican people
so
doing?
that
Tell
they
me
can
something. Stop talking about the
always
Democratic
get
Party.
free
Tell me what
money,
Republicans are
Texas.
doing. Tell me what the Republicans are doing.
So do you want me to speak on the last administration specifically?
I want you to tell me what Republicans are doing for black people today in their Republican-run cities.
Well, Republicans right now aren't doing anything because the Democrats are the ones in
power. So the
Hold
Republicans need Democrats to do something. Get out of here.
Yeah, they do. That's how the Congress works.
That's not how it works.
Yes.
Okay.
Vote.
So I don't know if you guys know this.
House,
I don't know if you guys know this, but Joe Biden. I don't know if you guys know this, but why they don't want to give Joe Biden any freaking credit? Joe Biden created a $1.9 trillion freaking relief package for this pandemic. Whether you guys want to talk about inflation or not,
with a 7% increase in inflation.
Who cares? I don't care about inflation. We could die tomorrow.
Don't care about
Guess
inflation?
what? No, I don't.
Do you go to the store?
I don't care. You want to know what I care about? You want to know what I care about? I don't care about inflation. I don't care because the market changes. The market changes, and you can print money. Hell, they're making money up. Listen, they're making money even digital at this point. At this point, we're playing Monopoly. We're playing with Monopoly money. Okay. Mere fact is, Joe Biden gave every American that qualified $1,400 came into your freaking mailbox.
What is $1,400 going to do for 7%?
Guess what? You know what it did for me? When I collect mine, it paid my bills. It helped me.
And you're going to be paying
it helped me pay my bills. It paid my car note bill. It helped me. Guess what? That's fine. That's fine because I'm an American. That's fine because guess what?
Maybe
when I filed,
it's okay for you, but for that mother of 3 that works a minimum wage job, it's not going to be okay for her.
Guess what?
I can tell you that right now.
Guess what? By you saying that we shouldn't have done nothing.
I didn't say we couldn't.
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's what you just said.
No, we're not.
That's what you just said. You just said because Biden did the bare minimum, and you're trying to talk crap about him giving families $1,400. He did more than that too, by the way. And by the way, he's talking about giving us a 4th stimulus. Okay.
I don't want a 4th stimulus.
Then don't take it. Then don't take it. Guess what? Guess what? And guess what? You have the right to decline it, and you have a right to not accept it. But for the people, guess what? That's not your prerogative to make a decision on somebody else's family, what they're going to do with their life. That is not your job. That is not your job. You worry about you, Red. You worry about you.
That's everybody.
Guess what? Guess what? Guess what? Supply and demand can change that. And like I said, guess what? You want to talk about inflation? Why don't you talk about
high gas prices?
Guess what? Why don't you talk about our country and how much freaking money we owe? We're in a freaking deficit. Who the frick did that?
Who increased it?
Oh, who gives a damn? We're talking about the American people. We're talking about the American people. Listen, you don't
care about who increased
it. What you don't care about?
Deficit,
no, you literally don't care about the bare minimum check that went to freaking families this year. I'm not going to take the light of that because guess what? I have 3 kids and I'm not married yet, and I need to take care of my bills because we split our bills in half. That money that I was getting, because real estate sometimes has dry spells, I literally was able to freaking help with my kids and buy food and put gas in my car and all the shit that you're freaking complaining about. Okay. Guess what? Holler at me in a little bit. And guess what? I don't even worry about freaking tax money because guess what? I have a career and I work my ass off. So if I owe money, so be it. If I don't owe money, who gives a shit? I don't live my life with limitations. I live my life freaking hustling.
If you're an entrepreneur.
What do you mean if?
You're an entrepreneur.
What do you mean if?
I'm just saying.
What do you mean if?
If anybody, I'm talking in general, everybody that's on here.
I needed that money. And guess what? You know what's funny, guys? You know what's funny? It's only January. It's only January. I'm going to have to pay taxes anyways. I'm an entrepreneur, bro. Who gives a shit?
20%.
Who cares? So what?
You're going to care whenever that 100.
Guess what? I'm going to sell a house and I'm going to give it to the government. Guess what? I'm going to sell it. I'm going to sell a house and I'm going to give it to the government. And guess what? I'm going to make sure I'm going to stay on top of them here in Connecticut and make sure it's not going to people like you who work for the freaking state, because that's where our tax money goes. Guess what? Guess who pays for police officers? Guess who pays for people like him to serve our country and all this freaking crap? You serve our country. Who pays for the military? Police work for the state.
I don't work for the state.
Then who do you work for? The government?
I work for the federal government.
Okay, so if you work for the federal government, who's paying you? Who's paying you?
Excuse me?
Who pays the federal government?
The citizens.
Okay, exactly. And you don't even think that half of them that are brown freaking exist or matter. I want to make sure. So guess what? I think I am a part of the defunding the police now, because I'll be damned you get my hardworking money.
Well, you pay 0.00001% of my paycheck, and I pay even all my paycheck.
Well, guess what? I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need all of that back.
Well, I mean, you can try, but with the increase,
I'm gonna need
in
all
IRS,
that back.
With the 200 plus agents that they're adding to the IRS, I doubt you're going to be able to do that.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. You just came here to look at us. You just came here to look at us.
I'm just listening to him.
My boobs are sweating, and she's just like.
No, I'm literally, I'm baffled by him. I'm just baffled. It blows me away that he thinks that.
What happened?
Look,
I think I cut out. I've got bad Wi-Fi.
You like do like a dance when people don't like you. It's like you're like, oh yeah, she don't like me, and that's okay. I don't like
it's
you.
because that's my life.
Okay.
No,
sorry. I think I've got bad Wi-Fi. I might have to end it.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Oh, you keep freezing though. Maybe you could like get off and come back on. I wanted a female perspective, which is why I added you on. Let's see who else. I try to get people that I haven't seen before. It's just been wild, y'all. Oh, I finally did it! Yes, yes. I'm 3 people. Oh my god, you guys! I've been trying to do this for freaking weeks. Yes.
I'm trying to.
So
all right,
excited.
Go ahead. Yes, I am excited because I've been trying to do this feature for like forever.
I'm happy for you. I'm genuinely happy for you.
Oh, now it went away. Oh,
well, I think because of her Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's exactly what freaking happened. Damn it. Okay, Go ahead. Hello. You called?
You rang. It's not good. It's not good.
Hello. Привет. Okay.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, okay. There he is. Okay, what's up?
How are you?
Oh, we're having a blast tonight. It's cool. We're family.
Oh,
what's going on?
Somebody told me I can't get my camera turned on for some reason. I'm sorry.
Okay, to make things light, let's play a little game real quick. BLM or Blue Lives Matter. We're gonna play this or that real quick. Just lighten up the situation. Yeah, just give me 5 seconds to have fun, man. BLM.
Fun?
Yeah, it is. Blue Lives or BLM. Go. Kind of like a
black officer.
Come on, you guys not like pineapple on your pizza?
Who does pineapple? That's weird.
I love pineapple on my pizza.
Pineapple and pepperoni.
It's delicious. Are you kidding
me?
I
like pineapple, but it's just weird.
You gotta try it, man.
I've tried it, but I don't like it.
Okay, one more. I'm trying to think. Root beer or Pepsi?
Root beer. That's weird.
Root beer or Pepsi?
Dr. Pepper.
Beer.
I love Dr. Pepper too. That's hard.
Dr. Pepper is the shit. I am from Texas. Root beer, I mean.
Okay. All right, let's get back into it. I just try to lighten the situation up. Dang.
No, okay. I don't want to get back into it, Andrea. I came on here to troll you and make you mad, and then you made me laugh and made me love you.
I just wanted you guys to see that even though we do argue, we do have a lot in common. We're freaking human. And one thing you did say, Red, on a positive note, is you said that we're all Americans, and that is true. But we're like a dysfunctional family that needs a divorce. But that would mean segregation, and that would mean separation. And our families have fought too hard for us to be integrated. So, at some point, we have to put our differences aside and realize that, maybe people that think like you, Red, that think that we are Americans should just accept the feedback of people that feel that there is still oppression still to this day, that there's still police brutality, that there's still injustices. Maybe you should just accept the feedback and figure out how we can equal the playing field.
Boys, I would agree with you, but I also would say don't put everybody in a box and say that those things happen in specific areas, because they do not happen in the areas that I'm in or in any of the areas that I've conducted investigations.
Okay, but that doesn't mean it's not happening, Red. Okay,
I didn't say that it wasn't happening.
Okay.
I did not say that.
But you also said that there's no such thing as systemic racism, and
I
that
do
might
believe
that
that there
might
is no
maybe
systemic
where
racism.
you are, but it does
I
it
think
does
it's-
exist in other areas.
That is one thing I do believe that is nationwide, that there is no systemic racism.
Okay, well that's completely false.
Andrea,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Andrea, can I say something?
Yeah,
And
go ahead.
I'd like your opinion, Red, as well, because you're a police officer. It's in my opinion, from what I see, I think part of the systemic racism is leads back to bias based on the people that an officer, such as yourself, deals with on a daily basis. Like if you have a beat cop, regardless of color, he patrols a
environment.
Yeah,
I think there's a difference between bias and criminal investigations or inquiries.
No, I'm talking about the bias. How, like a cop, like for instance, a cop might grab his gun when he comes up to a car.
Absolutely. But the mere fact that it's constantly played on media, I'm pretty sure it's there's some injustice in that. I mean, is there no other freaking race doing that?
Yes, absolutely. Frankenstein, sorry to cut you off.
That's okay. I lost my train of thought what I was going to say. So,
well, let's revert this. Why do you acknowledge that Black Lives Matter, and do you acknowledge that Blue Lives Matter, and why can't they coexist together? Why do they have to be constituents? Right? Am I saying that word right?
Girl, you changing it up.
What I'm saying is, why does it have to be this versus that?
You started this versus that.
Or you try to, like, what you've done is you like try to annihilate the whole scenario.
I didn't annihilate anything.
Like you say, like
all
yeah,
lives.
But saying anything. All lives matter, okay, creates a opportunity for the issues within the Black community to not be addressed. The failure to acknowledge these issues, like police brutality and white supremacy and systemic racism, it protects it from examination and holds it in place. Therefore, it's never abated. So you are an enabler in society.
At its core, I don't think that it's Black lives versus blue lives. It's politics and that drives that narrative that Black people and police can't get along.
Yeah, because you want to know why? What they don't tell you is that Republicans win votes by going against Black people too. They both do. They both win. The Southern strategy, bro.
Before I don't want.
Do you know about the Southern strategy?
If it was the Southern strategy, why did Georgia go blue?
The Southern strategy is literally something that Donald Trump just repeated. It's kind of amazing to me.
When?
Yeah.
The last one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm disabled, so you would think I would fall with the Democratic Party, but I don't. I don't fall with either party. I pull bits and pieces from both because certain pieces from each party does have a good moral standing from both sides, but both sides, neither side in itself is for the people.
Yeah, I believe that the elites that are running the show, the people that are in charge of these huge corporations like the NRA, are putting money. These lobbyists need to be looked at, that are pumping money into these politicians. Like for instance, everybody kept talking about how much the freaking girls with the BLM nonprofit organization were getting, but nobody even took into consideration how much money was donated to the billionaire ex-president Donald J. Trump by the MAGA Hat Committee.
Who lost money, by the way, before you
Let me tell you something. Why the hell would anyone in our country donate money to a president that's already a billionaire? I don't even think he took a salary because he makes too much.
Yeah.
Not because he makes too much. It's because he decided not to take a salary.
Okay, because he's a freaking billionaire.
And decided
a patriot.
Not take a salary.
Okay, that told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. Really? Listen.
Doing insider trading.
Why would anybody care?
That they were not millionaires. Now that they are millionaires, they're able.
Yeah, but I thought you weren't a Trump supporter, and here you are sticking up for him. Listen, why would anybody care about the BLM getting donations? Yet the MAGA hats gave Donald J. Trump millions of dollars were donated to Donald J. Trump's mission to do what?
Same thing for the Democrats.
Okay. Mere fact is, why didn't anybody question Donald J. Trump? He doesn't even pay his taxes. Don't you know?
Yeah, he does, and it's been proven that he does.
No, he has gotten away, and he's even bragged about it. Okay, he's bragged about
he has loopholes just like every other politician.
Yeah, but guess what? Guess what? As a billionaire, you don't get to have loopholes when you're making money off America. Let me tell you something. That money could be going. That's for the taxes. That money could be going to inner cities for gun control. That money could be going to education. That money could be going to other places, and he is evading tax. Paying his taxes.
He's paying people. He's an employer. Those people that are inner city are being paid because of people like him. Billionaires that take the risk, open up a business, pay for everything to include medical, to include your paycheck, to include bonuses, and allow for those individuals.
Oh, really? If that's what you think, that's what you think America has done. That's what you think America has done to come up. Do you know what exploitation is, bro?
Oh, what China's doing? What Nike's doing?
We're not talking about China. We're talking about America. Do you believe that America has been a part of exploitation?
Foreign countries have infiltrated America, to include China and Nike, who exploits Chinese workers, children that work pennies on the dollar.
And you don't think America has anything to do with exploitation? Yet they sent people here to work for this country, built the freaking White House, and had slaves for 246 years. 50 years ago. 50 years ago. How old are you, sir? Frank, how old are you? Frank, how old are you?
51.
So you were literally born at a time where 1 year prior to him being born, me and you probably could even be born on the same freaking unit, floor as him. Okay? And you think that there isn't exploitation in this world? The 9 to 5 concept is exploitation. When I take my daughter to school and I'm an entrepreneur and I know that they're getting her prepared to work in society, making freaking cents on the dollar, every American is exploited in this country. That is my theory.
That's discouraging.
Every American.
The school
just because you got a business, and you had an idea, doesn't mean that you should be paying the workers freaking a minimum wage. It's called minimum wage.
Yeah, for you to progress and actually
say that with me, you guys. It's called minimum wage.
You know what minimum wage is for, right?
Yeah, to overwork you and help the elites get all the money.
Incorrect.
It's called minimum wage here in America. God forbid you get minimum wage.
We'll actually have a drive.
Y'all can have all the minimum wage. I don't want it.
Better yourself. Why is it that minimum wage today that's being proposed is the same amount that a CNA makes or a phlebotomist who has to be certified to actually pay for those certs?
Oh my God, it's kind of amazing to me.
The sad thing is that minimum wage, even I mean, when I was 19, my first job, my first job besides a paper route or something like that, I was 19. I worked at a bank. Minimum wage back then was $5 an hour.
Sick.
Working at a bank.
Sick.
But the economy was a lot different then too.
Yeah, but what happened? Okay, so and you know what's funny is that nowadays people are becoming entrepreneurs and becoming millionaires.
Yeah, and if you notice that
now we're all trying to be capitalists.
Well, if you look at with everybody trying to be entrepreneurs and everything over the last 2 years, the ones that got hit the hardest with COVID are the entrepreneurs, the ones with small businesses.
Oh,
you froze.
Oh, her Wi-Fi went out.
Yep. But if you look at today's, what's happened in the last 2 years, the people that got hit the hardest by COVID and losing jobs and stuff like that, the biggest ones to get hit and lose businesses are entrepreneurs, small business. I mean, there are a lot of other people lost jobs. Don't get me wrong, but entrepreneurs.
I'm letting you guys know right now. I'm an entrepreneur, and real estate has been the best. Last year was the best year I ever had in my 5 years of career. I have struggled as a realtor. I did not struggle in real estate. It was the best year ever.
Yeah, my family.
I did over 3 million in volume, which is really good for me for my little business.
My
it didn't hurt me at all.
my mother and father are both brokers, and I'm a licensed real estate agent myself.
Oh, I think you might have told me that. Were you hit?
What's that?
You didn't. They said that the real estate market was the best it's been in over 20 years. And I felt it. I was like, dang, well, how's everybody being able to afford houses? Guess what? The banks are giving out freaking loans like freaking hotcakes. And they're still doing it. Y'all better go get your guys' houses before the market crashes, because it's going to crash. They're going to force it to crash. I'm telling you guys.
In the next 3 years.
Or better yet, sell your house. I've made so many people money. Like, I'm about to flip a house, I swear to God, this year. I will in a little bit. So anyway, all right, Frank. I'm gonna try to let somebody else come on, and hopefully you have a little bit of energy to grow red, because it's fun. Okay, Frank.
You have a good day.
Yeah.
You too. Have a good one.
I want a black woman to come on here. I think we have.
We're doing the 2-on-1. I get your strategy now.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
My phone just almost died, and yes, I'm about to. Okay, hold on. Hi.
Hi. I'm just
hello
and chiming in. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are
you? You heard what he's been saying?
Yes, I have.
I'm the Antichrist, apparently.
No, it's all right. Long as y'all having a decent debate, it's okay. We all have our own opinions.
That is true.
I don't really like to say. A week ago, my 22-year-old daughter, if she was up, I would show you, became an officer, and my whole light an officer. She's 5'3", 102 pounds. I'm in the Bronx, New York, and she became an officer. So I have to say, everybody life matter. Her life matters. I don't like to say it too much, but being that she joined the force, I kind
everybody has some type of the calling, pretty much. Like, whenever you become a police officer, you have a calling. You want to protect people, all people. You want to be on the front line. You want to make sure that no bad things happen. And unfortunately, with that, you get the negative that comes with the job. And it's just part of it. And for the last 15 years, I've been called everything under the sun. Everything. So I just let it.
Then I heard you guys were saying something like, she was saying that you probably need to come in our areas, because I don't know where you guys from. I'm from Bronx, New York. I'm from New York City. And to be honest with you, I'm not really into numbers, because you'll start screaming numbers. From what I see, I haven't seen too many killings between where I live at with cops and people. And one of the reasons why it slowed down a little, not too much, is because the cops that they're putting out here now can interact with us. They're from, how my children would say, our hoods. They know some black people like me right now. I talk with my hand, where sometimes it's disturbing. I was outside yesterday and this boy was expressing himself with his hand, and there were two white cops, unfortunately. Once he started moving his hand, they grabbed his gun. And we're expressing to him that's how he expresses himself.
Wait, but he had a gun?
No, he didn't have a gun. They had the guns. And it was like 9 of them. And they all, stop moving your hands. And, it was just like, it was so sad. But like I was telling him, I was really against it. A week ago, my daughter just came. She's probably asleep from the academy. She's 5'3", 110 pounds. She joined the force. None of us liked it. And then when I seen this up here debate, blue lives versus BML lives, of course, black lives. And something she did come home and said so that I didn't like, because she tells us everything. Like I said, I'm in New York. I don't know different. Black lives in the police academy and in the police force are totally different from white lives in the academy. She said it's totally different. She has an officer, her partner, I don't know how they call it, is white. And when they're out, he lock up all the black people. And she locks up all the white people if there's an arrest being made. It's just crazy. Like, now she's thinking about going to the Navy. She hasn't been there long, but she doesn't like what's going on.
Are you telling me that your daughter has witnessed systemic racist things happening like
I don't
that?
Yeah,
think that.
within
So
the police department.
I don't think that's systemic racism.
then
Uh,
what is it?
yeah, what do you call it? I don't. I mean, I'm
So
not.
I've never heard of a policy where
Neither.
certain Pacific or a certain race does something with a specific race and vice versa. I've never heard that.
Because you live in a white town and a white
No,
experience.
no, that why do I live in a white town as a federal police officer that polices all
I don't know.
demographics?
You have to tell me that. But you told me and
I've
all of
already
us
told
here
you.
that you live in a white town.
I didn't say that. I
Yes, you
never
did.
said
No.
that.
You sure
No,
hell did.
I said that I've lived in many communities throughout the United States, to include overseas. I never said I lived in any type
The
of
fact that we
community.
even have to tell you that culturally we're different than other races. The fact that I mean, you don't even want to acknowledge that there are black people in this country. Okay, like she said, listen,
Excuse me?
listen, I'm in Connecticut, so
I am
I'm in
black
Southern.
in
Yeah,
this
you right up the street
country.
from me.
I'm in Southern Connecticut, so I could be in where she is in within an hour, and
Yeah.
you would be amazed to see. And I'm also a realtor, so I have to go like tomorrow. I have to go to Danbury, Connecticut. It's freaking an
Oh,
hour away from me. Oh my
yeah.
god, it's so freaking far. I'm not looking forward to the drive. But
Oh,
sometimes I have to go to Stanford, so I'm driving all through these towns. And what I have realized is that these towns look different. That's
then
concerning for me.
ours, of course. Yes.
That's concerning for me. Literally, even in New York, you could be on one strip, you cross the
And
freaking
walk
street,
around across the street and it's
and
totally
you're
different.
talking about freaking beautiful landscaping,
Yeah.
nice. Then you cross 2 blocks down the road, you're in the freaking
Literally, that's
hood.
where I live. I live on a street called Bruno and Boston Road. Around me in the 6 block radiance is nothing but beautiful $300,000 houses.
It's
If you
wonderful.
walk 6 blocks up, which is horrible, I have a 16-year-old son that's actually playing his PlayStation. 6 blocks up, and it's so sad because I just did a GoFundMe. I had to move my son out of school for 5 months already because 6 blocks away, he's 6'1", 15 years old, mind you guys. Sorry for cutting you off. The school is 6 blocks away, free, but 80% of the people in there are gang related. My son wouldn't go to school. You know, he wouldn't do nothing.
That's
And now I
horrible.
had to transfer him 13 blocks away to a private school as a single mother because
And
he
what is this a
refused.
good school? Is this a good
Well,
school?
where I sent him, yes, he's been there for a year and a half. COVID happened, dad died, and I'm trying to get back on my feet now to bring him. He's very shy. Look, he's very shy. He's
Oh,
hiding.
hi.
Say hi.
Hello.
That's a police
What's up?
officer, the debater, and me.
Yeah.
He's 15,
Unfortunately.
6'1".
Hello.
Yeah. Say hi, Vic. He's
How's it
hiding.
going?
Yeah, you don't want to be with the club.
Yeah,
But see, that's what I'm trying to get Red to understand is that things are different. Not even you don't
maybe
even have to.
because he doesn't know he is not in the air. You know, he hasn't.
Right.
Okay, so let me.
Maybe he has to
Can I raise
travel
a
and see.
can I raise a
You gotta
question real
get.
quick?
He says he has
Because
travel, but he doesn't have culture. He's not inclined culturally.
I am inclined culturally
No, you're
southern,
not.
but
You're
inclined
absolutely
culturally.
not inclined culturally.
Okay, so anyway, my thing is that you talk about these nice neighborhoods that are like around the corner and things like that.
Yeah.
So my question is predominantly who is making these nice
People,
neighborhoods?
of course, the people.
No, what
Okay.
kind
No,
of
no,
people?
no. Hey, no. I'll tell you right now. Yeah, I'll tell you
Specifically
right now.
to Andrea's point, who is making these nice neighborhoods?
Okay. So developments. So
Who
planned
are
Who,
development.
who owns these developments? You know where I'm getting at.
Uh-huh.
Answer the question.
Plan.
You-
If you say Democratic people,
No, it has nothing to do with the party.
okay. Planning and zoning. Okay, you guys.
No,
Let me
that's
tell
not
you how
right.
this works. Let me tell you how this
White
works.
people.
Okay.
White people is the answer.
No,
It's
it's
those
not white people. I
billionaires
can
that
tell you
you
that right
hate.
now.
It's those
No, 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 no.
billionaires that you think
No,
that
you
make too
guys
much
do not
money.
understand.
It's
No.
those billionaires that you think that shouldn't be
Let me
out
tell you
there
something.
making the money that they're doing, but now they're making nice neighborhoods that are right around the corner of those that are
No.
impoverished.
No.
And
Nope.
now we're
You're
going
wrong.
to say, oh, it's white privilege because they can have
No.
$300,000, $600,000 houses.
No. Guess what? I think when it comes to the way that the floor plan of these towns are created have a lot to do historically how they were generated. Okay. You have to understand that what I talked to you guys before, steering was when agents were pushing black people into a certain area. That's why there's so many people black
Living.
people that are so close to each other. And then the
Who's
lack of
doing that?
education. And then
Who's doing that?
also, listen, it was America that did it. Okay. Over
No, it
time.
wasn't Americans.
Let me tell you something.
Who do you think
There,
is doing it?
yeah.
So who I think is moving black Americans into the ghetto, I'm going to use the ghetto because that's the historical term. And I'm going to say that politically, Democrats benefit from the impoverished and from the poor. Because if you continue to promise and promise and promise and give a little, then you will always be elected into office, or your party will always be elected
And
into
you want to know
office.
why
Because
Democrats,
you're always
bro,
going to give a
the
little bit,
reason,
but we're going to
yeah,
promise
guess what?
everything.
Guess what? You know that little bit was? You know what that little bit was that the
Yeah,
Republicans
that
did not give us?
$1,400 that you
No,
really
yeah, that
enjoyed.
$1,400 that helps families that have kids. You know what else?
I wanted to get on that too. I was happy about that 14.
Me too. Me too.
Right,
Let me tell you,
$1,400 is nice until you have to
it
pay
was
it back
more
in
than
your paycheck.
$1,400. It was more
Yeah,
than
you're right.
$1,400. It
It's
was more than $1,400.
$1,400 for now. I took
Let me
it.
tell you something.
For
Listen,
now, until you have to pay it back in
I'll
taxes.
take it. And let me tell you something. A Republican president would have never give you a goddamn thing.
No,
And
because he was the very first one that gave the stimulus, by the way.
Let me tell you something. When you talk crap about Democrats,
Nobody talking crap. I'm talking
let
facts.
me tell you something. You want to talk about facts? Let's
Yes,
go back
ma'am.
to 1964 Civil Rights Movement.
I want to go back to 1776.
Okay, because
I want to go back to 1990. I know
was
you
2
knew
years
about
old.
law.
Well, now you're talking about Clinton times.
Of course, and crime.
Well,
I
yeah,
want to
now
go
you're
back
talking
to
about Clinton.
1987. Rockefeller law.
I was just born.
Well, Rockefeller law did me really dirty, guys. And I'm getting ready to make me a YouTube too. I'm 52 years old with 3 kids. At 18, yes, I did commit a crime of drugs. I got caught with, let me see, about 2 pounds of weed and about, I think, $800 or $900 worth of crack cocaine. And I got 9 years in prison. As of today, I have been out of prison 20 years. I know this is not
Congratulations.
That's good.
It's not congratulations. In that time, in being in jail, I received my high school diploma, a bachelor's, my associates, and a bachelor's. And you know, today they say that felons pay for their crime every time. I am a proven fact that I cannot get a job nowhere, and I fit the qualifications for it. So now I'm a stay-at-mom babysitter. 20 years, no problem. I went to this program yesterday on 123rd called Act Cares. It's for people that have committed crimes and back into society normal. The man told me I've been out of jail too long for him to help me with work. Unbelievable. It's so much bad.
So you couldn't get a job because you've been out of work too long?
No, I can get a job, but you know what you were saying, minimum wage.
Yeah.
Even with
minimum wage
and associates.
So you know what you got to do? You got to do
I call my congressman everything.
But listen, a lot of races, like Asian races, Latino races, they come in this country and they do entrepreneurial jobs. Okay, and totally skip that. Skip the whole minimum wage 9 to 5 bullcrap. You're not gonna make anything. Find an entrepreneur like me. I'm a realtor. I need freaking help. I need help with these people.
How do I do that?
You go find out who's freaking coming up. What entrepreneurs are in your area? You see a real estate agent. You see an insurance person. You could get money by just recommending people. Can you talk? If you can talk, or just like I see so many homeless people, they got a sign that says "Give me money." I'm like, no, market for me. Go to Ohana Real Estate on your freaking thing, and I'll pay you X amount of money per person. I mean, you don't know how much money real estate agents pay to have people market for them. I mean, literally, I don't even check my LinkedIn because I am flooded with other companies that make money that blood suck off realtors. Okay, so find a different niche. You actually speak very well. You can answer a phone. I mean, you can start a whole business. Go get a freaking cheap cell phone and talk to entrepreneurs and tell them that you're going to accept all their phone calls. and that you're gonna pretty much you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
get rid
bought
of the
me a beautiful
screen
laptop.
them. I mean, I can think of a million things you can do other than
Yeah,
going to
I
freaking
bought a whole
CVS
laptop
and
last week.
working 9 to 5 for nothing.
Yeah,
I mean, hell, you could freaking go buy maybe a bottle, some water bottles, and sell it across the street for $1 more. I mean, there's so many things
to do.
that you can do.
Yeah,
I mean, you can tell people to come to your house for 30 minutes. You'll give them a nice like shoulder rub or something like that. I mean, that's it.
right,
You get it. But
right.
there's so many things that you can do. What skills do you have? Can you cook? Can you cook? Because I sure the hell can. I'm telling you right
Yeah, I
now.
can cook.
Summertime's coming up. If you can go and listen, if you can cook, you can have go to GoDaddy.com. You can have a whole website within 10 minutes. Costs $9. Okay, go
Nuts.
make yourself a nice piece of chicken, some sweet potato salad, and tell them that you'll host birthday parties, you'll host these things.
Yeah.
And trust me,
I've been
you
a
will make
daycare
money because not
provider for the
everybody likes
last
to
4
cook.
years. Yeah,
I mean,
I've been a
you just
daycare
have that
provider for the
mentality.
last 4 years.
Daycare, there's so much freaking money. There's so much you can do with
Yeah,
daycare money. So it's really just about your mentality. You know how much money
right.
people,
Yeah,
3 kids, you're rich, is what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah.
So you're going to be
Yeah, you just opened me up and made me feel good. That's great. Yeah, I am gonna just start doing anything, cooking,
yeah.
talking on the phones.
Any kind of research that you can do
And
for
when they
your
say
area and just get on the bandwagon.
People are mean in New York. You know that, right?
Oh
People
yeah,
are
well,
I'm
really
from the
mean.
South.
but
I'm from
you
the
know
South.
what?
We
Said,
say
when
hi
she
and
said what
wave
she
to
said to
everybody.
you,
Listen,
you need to come up. You need to visit. You
I don't
you
know
need
if
to
I
go.
could.
let me tell you
I
something.
wish I could drop you off in the middle of 135th Street in Lenox, and then you tell me about racism.
Well,
You
I
tell
don't
me.
go. I don't go anywhere without my gun.
Well, nobody does.
Oh dang.
So you'll fit right in.
I don't go anywhere without my gun.
You'll fit right in because everybody carries a gun.
Exactly. That's my
Yeah,
gun.
and I don't like that. Listen, don't
Yeah.
come to listen. All you guys in New York that come into Connecticut, don't bring your guns here. We
Yeah,
got
I go
the
to
red laws
Danbury
here.
a lot. I have a friend next
So
to her.
Oh,
the great thing about
Connecticut
me
is
there you
is that
go.
beautiful.
I can
Well,
carry my gun
it is
anywhere
very
in the United
beautiful. Well, thank
States.
you so much, love. I'm gonna let somebody else come on. God bless you. Really, I really hope that you feel inspired because that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to inspire you guys and know that you got to get off the freaking mentality of a slave. Listen, a lot of things that have been perpetuated in this country are still being perpetuated in our minds. The mere fact that even people can even say all lives matter. There's a sense of superiority when people can come and go, all lives matter. Guess what? It don't affect me. And just say it. And so what? So do Black Lives Matter. Now what? You know what I mean? It's kind of amazing to me.
I think it does affect you in a way, though.
Not really.
I
Not
think
even a
so.
smidge. Not even a smidge. Not even a smidge. Because I am a woman that has lived that I live outside that bullcrap. Like I
I
don't
don't
live
think
in.
so.
I would
I don't think
never.
anybody
Are
lives
you kidding me?
outside of it. Yeah, because
I
can you
listen.
tell me
Listen.
what percentage of your clientele? What is your race for the percentage of your clientele in Connecticut?
Mixed. I have white,
In
Spanish,
Connecticut,
and black. Yes.
the majority. What's the
The
majority?
majority of my clients right now are Latino. They're investing.
Interesting.
They are
Interesting.
investing. That's why I told you. You think that white people are the ones buying up the freaking land?
Well,
I'm telling you,
Hispanics are
that's not what I'm
considered white.
seeing. Hey, Poppy's coming up on the Lolo. Poppy's coming up. All
Latinos
cash,
and
flipping
Hispanics are
ounces.
considered white, by the way.
I just want to tell you this. When I was talking about different demographics, like you got to know that it's different. It varies, and the culture varies. And so, with your mentality, active. Hello.
You cut out for there for a
Oh,
second.
that's mine. I think my thing. Your mentality isn't a broader perspective, so you don't really represent Americans. You just represent the South and the little freaking area where you.
I've lived all over the world. I lived in a lot of places, cool. Not just the South. Dollar. Who's this?
How's it going? How's it going?
Hello.
Good.
You know what? I feel like this is Fox News reversed. Like I'm the token Republican on a Democrat show. You know
absolutely.
I mean? Like
absolutely. CNN. I'm waiting for my call.
Exactly. I'm like the token, and I'm like,
You're like the Candace Owens.
Ooh, did you compare me to Candace?
Yeah.
I am so flattered right now. Like, I need to go
He's
run
flattered.
for an
Oh my
office.
God.
Flattered by
I need to
that.
go run for office somewhere.
Please don't.
Office in Texas. Stay in Texas.
Well,
Right.
I'm not in Texas currently. I'm from Texas. I'm in the Midwest.
Listen, you got to be able to ascertain some of this. Did you get any?
I have gotten a lot of information on how people think, and it helps me with the psychological and sociological standpoint of individuals in communities.
Listen, I know we've been laughing, but let me tell you something. I am very passionate about justice for Elijah McClain, Devon Tillman, 38 bullets, teenager, he had a gun. I am pro gun control. Save that for another day. I hope you come and debate me on that with your freaking gun.
Invite me.
Oh yeah,
Yes, co-host.
I am a gun control freaking crazy person. Like, I have zero tolerance, is what I'm saying, for you guys freaking guns. Like, zero tolerance. I don't even think that police.
Topic for another time.
Yeah, absolutely, because we're gonna go down the rabbit hole with that one.
Oh.
But let me just say this with the BLM. You know, when you say all lives matter, you deplete justice for the victims of police brutality. That you acknowledge.
What does TK Roel have to think about it?
Well, I mean, as for me, and number one, we're talking about Blue Lives Matter. There's no such thing as a blue life. So the fact that even exists in people's minds, somebody to say, "Oh, Blue Lives Matter," blue is maybe the color of the uniform, and that's not always the color of the uniform that they wear. So the fact that you want to equate that into the same sentence as talking about a black person because that's their skin color is just baffles me for some people. So yeah, that's
so
my.
What about the black people that wear the quote unquote blue?
Wear the uniform? Right.
Yep.
So the people who wear the uniform, and I know several folks who wear the uniform, they're not looked after by the folks that work with them. Because I know right here for a fact, there was a black officer here where I live in South Carolina who was on a call. He called for his white officers to come and help because that was his partner. White officer never showed up. He got killed.
So I think in that instance, there's a lot.
Oh, here we go now with that instance.
No, I
because that happens everywhere.
There's a lot of information that we don't know about. Okay, number one, we don't know what actually happened. All right,
you don't know. I know.
As a person that does investigations, we can't make assumptions that.
Yeah, but do you guys manipulate reports?
No.
Can you guys manipulate reports? Can you guys tamper with evidence?
You wouldn't.
Yeah, are you saying that no cop has ever tampered with evidence? I'm pretty sure that would be a flat out lie.
I will say 99.9% of cops would not, and they are bound by ethics. They are bound by their
bound by ethics.
Bound by ethics,
exactly.
Really? Mm-hmm.
You violated like 5 of them since you've been talking to us, which is kind of funny.
I what?
You violated some of those ethics. I mean, with your racist banter.
No, ma'am. This is not what we're going to do. You are not going to call in my question, my ethics. I need for you to be very clear and very specific as to what ethics I actually violated, because this is something that I do not. This is not.
Okay. Well, let's look at the.
When it comes to my integrity and when it
comes
to
your
my
integrity, you literally have been.
To my 15 years
you
of
literally have been
calling my ethics into
yes.
Was
that a trigger for you? Was that like a trigger for you? So talking negatively about the movements that my people and my race have been a part of for over how many decades have Black people been fighting for to have equality
Andrea,
in this country?
I need for you to be very clear. This is not an ethics violation. This is a debate that we have a disagreement on. I have not violated any type of ethics.
Listen, Red, calm down. You're not at work at E-Soldier.
It doesn't matter.
You're not at work. You're not clocked in.
Question at any time.
Okay,
have you ever been up on the stand?
Let me just say this.
And have to defend yourself?
Okay, listen. I guess in some sort of way.
Not in my way.
Black people are on the stand every day.
Yeah, but listen.
Nothing. I'm Black, by the way.
But the mere fact is, but you have insulted our race.
Right.
Since you've been here.
And you're saying that is an ethics violation.
What I'm saying is your racist rhetoric.
No, you be very clear. Is that an ethics violation?
Red, I'm going to look it up, okay?
Do I believe that you can have an opinion? Absolutely. I don't think that's against a code of ethics. I don't believe that you're breaking a code of ethics. You're not at work. Okay,
It doesn't matter.
you're not at work.
My
But what I'm saying
integrity and
is
my character
what
can
what
be
I'm
called in
saying.
question at any
Okay,
time.
well I didn't mean to offend you, but what I'm going to say this, and obviously you take your job seriously, and so do I take my job seriously when I'm sitting over here trying to be an advocate for my people.
You can be an
Okay,
advocate, but please do not call my
okay.
integrity or my
But
ethics in
what's
question.
amazing to me is that your integrity is not really aligned with morality, as well as the code of ethics of societal uh, um, awareness, if that makes sense. You literally have said nothing positive about the black race, and in fact everything that black people are trying to fight for, that we've discussed: police brutality, mere fact, historically, slavery, oppression. You've completely ignored every disparity that has been perpetuated to black people
I have not
since
ignored
historical
it.
time.
I have given you equal.
You said it doesn't even exist.
I have given you equal rebuttals as to other races that have also been diminished or have been in slavery, such as Irish.
Yeah, you play it safe,
Asians,
but we all know that you're spewing
like all other lives that have come to America and have been impoverished. But you are specifically
you
just
literally
for black
said
lives,
that you would
and
not go to
because
Chicago, which is a demographic, because it was like I guess dangerous or something. Like you pretty much
I'm not
implied.
going to go to Chicago. I'm not going to New York. I'm not going to Seattle. I'm not going to Minneapolis. I'm not going to LA. I'm not going to Houston. I'm not going to any of those metropolitan areas because that's not the kind of cop that I am.
Well, guess what?
If
Guess
you
what?
have-
A lot of black people live in those metropolitan areas.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that live in rural areas too.
Yeah, but you're basically saying that these places where black people are dwelling, you don't want to go. Don't you
I
see a
don't want to
problem
go
with
there
that?
because the crime is high. I didn't say
Okay,
it was because of a certain
but
race.
you're a cop.
Yes, and I can decide where I want to work.
So
as
isn't that the point of your job, to go where the
work
criminals
where I
are?
want?
Well,
To
no,
work where I
what I'm
want.
saying is your job is to fight against criminals, right? To put them in jail.
So if we're gonna do that, if we're gonna do this tit for tat, as a realtor, I want you to go
Yeah.
work in the lowest.
I've done it. I do it.
Hold on. Lowest populated county in, let's say, Nebraska, and I want you to make a living off of that.
Absolutely, no problem. We'll do it.
I don't
Happy
think
to do
that
it.
would be a no
Happy
problem
to do
because
it.
you wouldn't be able to do it.
Guess what? I literally never turn down a client. Like, it's my problem. Like this year, I was like, I gotta say no to some people.
Not going to
I
take
literally
on a client that you do not get a
let me tell you
profit
something.
from.
Let me tell you something. I do it all the time. And that's why I'm probably not the most top producer, because I'm in those metropolitan areas that some agents that talk like the way that you do, they don't want to go into these areas. And when I go into these areas like Bridgeport, Hartford, and New Haven, and I see my people, my spirit won't allow me to say, well, I'm only going to be in Fairfield County.
That's a capitalist society because
No,
all
I'm
you
not
wanna
a
do is make
capitalist.
money.
But guess what? I'm not a
You
capitalist.
have your own business. Hold on,
Yep.
time out. You have your own
Yes,
business.
I
and
do.
You're not a
I
capitalist?
absolutely have an LLC and all that. And guess
And
what?
you're not a capitalist.
No, I will never be a capitalist. I'm a
Hold
utopian.
up.
I'm a utopian. Oh, what are you talking about? You just don't know me.
You cannot own your own business.
Oh, I'm so
and say that
sorry.
You're not a capitalist.
You just don't know me, sir. You just don't know me.
Does
I
the
have big
government
plans.
own your business?
I own my business.
Okay, so you are a capitalist.
And
by
guess what?
definition.
And guess what I'm going to do with my money?
Guess
Guess what I'm going to do with my money?
You want to spend it, but what
Absolutely.
I'm saying is,
and guess what I'm
that
going to
you
do?
are a
And guess what I'm going to do with my money? I plan to start a investment group that has a focus in these metropolitan cities to tackle gun control, to put money out of the police's hands and into the educational system, and as well as
you do know that the police don't have a say on how their money's spent.
oh,
right?
exactly. The budgeting is done at the town. I know where to go, sir. So
Right.
trust me,
And
I've
so
taken my
when
notes. Oh no,
Indianapolis
no,
tries
trust
to
me.
defund the police,
Trust me.
and then they're like, "Oh, that's not working.
Guess
Let's
what? It's
refund
not
them
called
real quick."
defunding the police. I have a theory, and I'm going to find out because I'm very educated. I'm going to these metropolitan cities that I'm around, and as soon as I figure out what the problem is, I'm going to find other people in these metropolitan towns to come work under my entity and work together to flip our own cities. Y'all talking about flipping houses. I'm trying to flip my.
You're running for government.
Well, you don't think that I'm capable of doing that? The
I didn't say
AOC
you
was
were
a
capable.
bartender.
I'm just asking. Are you running for government?
The AOC was a bartender.
And I would debate that she would be a better bartender than she is a congresswoman.
So, just because
this guy,
I plan to use our capitalization system to benefit my people, because I don't believe I'm going to be on this. Because I don't think that I'm going to be on this earth for a long time, and it would be a life dream to freaking help out my people. By any means necessary. So am I a capitalist? Am I a capitalist? I'm telling you right now, you will never see this chick have a 12-room house like Beyonce.
That's what they all say.
No, that would never be me.
That's what they all say.
That would never be me.
AOC that's like, oh, I didn't know that they made so little. They didn't make that much money in Congress. Excuse me, you're going to make $170,000 for the rest of your life. And
yeah,
you're talking about your salary.
Yes, they are all disgusting. I'm telling you. Even Bernie Sanders, I couldn't believe how much this dude freaking makes. Like, I could not believe how much Bernie Sanders makes. And he is a socialist. So whatever. So guess what? It is not up to Bernie Sanders. It's not up to the Democratic Party. It's not up to the Republican Party to make a difference. It is up to you and I to make a difference every single day.
We can agree on.
Every single day, you have an opportunity. I have an opportunity, and everybody else has an opportunity to change the system. I believe that the system, that's in place right now needs to be reformed immediately. We need to get these old people out of the freaking office that have been there. They're like freaking 90. I hate to break it to you guys, but guess what? All these people are about to die. They're old as shitballs. So this is our time. This is our time to change, to make change.
Can I tell you who proposed term limits?
Who?
Ted Cruz.
Okay, well, Ted Cruz was disgusting during the election. And he's actually against the BLM.
He's not against BLM. He's against people that are domestic terrorists.
Yeah, but guess what? You cannot box a whole freaking movement that was 93% peaceful. And demonize.
You can put all police officers in one box, though.
No. I have never done that. No, I never did that. What I said, Red, is that I don't think there needs to be a divisiveness within the two. I believe that they can be together and still coexist. I believe that the Blue Lives Matter campaign that's been going on for the past year can't exist with the BLM. It would be a dream of mine to see a protest peacefully that is being performed by police as well as Black people, where cops have an opportunity to meet people within the BLM and tell them how they're what they're trained to do, educate, and things to stay away from, things to do, code words. Like, could you imagine if police start educating instead of freaking trying to cause division? Every time I see a house with a blue line flag, guess what is always right next to it? A Trump flag.
Because historically, Republicans are a people of law and order.
Yeah, but you know what?
Which support law enforcement.
So law and order, well, guess what? They were also part of racism in our country.
Law and order is racism?
Let me tell you this. The Republican Party started the Lily White movement.
Which is happening today?
I believe the Lily White movement has never ended.
So for those
how many black people do you see in Congress?
Quite a few to include
you always
got
to have a one just to say that there isn't an issue. There's always that one black guy or that one.
No, there's quite a few black people in Congress.
How many compared to the white people in
I say quite a few. I mean,
quite a
not
few.
as many as white people.
Okay, well, guess what? The whole point of Lily White movement was to keep black people from being in politics. They never wanted it.
Well, it hasn't happened, especially since Virginia just
and guess
elected
what?
their very
Ever
first
since America
black
has been in
lieutenant governor.
existence, guess ever since America has been in existence, there's only been one biracial president, and half of the people in this country don't even like him. So now there's another white guy.
I think it's more than half because he didn't do anything. He was a do-nothing president.
Okay, well, do you know anything about the Lily White movement? I think you should know.
I don't because
because you wouldn't, because that's the Republican Party and it's negative against them. God forbid you know the freaking truth.
I know quite a few of the truths, quote unquote.
Okay, well, you should Google the Lily White movement.
I don't Google. I'll do DuckDuckGo.
Okay, of course you would, DuckDuckGo. Okay,
yes, ma'am.
Okay, so DuckDuckGo, the Lily White movement. Okay, so what was the Lily White movement, you guys? Does anybody know here? You guys really should know. The Lily White movement began within the Republican Party, after the Civil War. From the first days of the Reconstruction, a fight developed not only in Texas, your place, but across the South between whites and blacks fractions for control of the newly formed party, as white GOP leaders sought respectably among Southern voters, and a conviction grew that continued black and tan involvement thwarted expansion of the party. The Lily White Republicans began an organized effort to drive blacks from positions of party leadership.
Okay, can I jump in real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay. First off, I want to say, Red, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
I am going to give a little backstory real quick. One, I am a mother of two. I had my son at 16. I'll be 30 in April. I was in government housing for about 3.5 years. So I was living off the government because I could not afford to support myself and my child. So I was in government housing. I got cash assistance, food stamps, all the above. I did not grow up rich. My husband is a police officer, so I back the blue. But I'm gonna say right now that there's always a bad police officer. There's always a bad African American. There's bad white people. There's bad teachers. There's bad restaurant worker. Everybody. There is no group of bad in everything, and that'll never go away.
Never.
I always tell people, no, it'll never go away.
Guess what? Maybe in your world.
No, it'll never go
maybe
away.
In your world.
Hate will never go away.
Maybe in your world. Guess what? Maybe in your world. Maybe in your world. Maybe in worlds of people that do nothing.
Tell me what society.
Not in my world.
Today's society. Tell me a country that does not have a criminal justice system.
Holly, no offense.
What?
Maybe in your world.
No.
I just never use the word never, because I can't imagine if the slaves back in the 1800s thought we are never going to be free. They're free. I can't imagine Native Americans
here,
who thought that they were never going to get reparations and got reparations.
You want to say that they're not. You want to say that they weren't free, but you're kind of contradicting yourself when you say that, when they said they'd never be free, but yet you're on here debating that black people are not racist or can't be racist and all white people are.
What I'm telling you is you have been you adopted listen, at the end of the day, white fragility is prevalent.
But at the end of the day, we all bleed red. So it shouldn't matter what your skin color is.
So guess what? You're right. We all bleed red. But how many people today are being killed disproportionately because they're black?
I can say the same thing about but I can say the same thing about my husband. He can walk into a gas station and get killed just because he's in uniform.
Guess who else has a fiance who's a cop?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Me.
But don't you fear for his life sometimes when he's walking?
Absolutely.
So why should we say it's blue lives matter against black lives matter? Like, that's when people say all lives matter, it's not something that we're trying to be racist or not.
Yeah, but it is racist.
African Americans don't have a right. But it is racist. If you look at it, and I'm not a racist by any means. Like,
no, you're just coddling. You just coddle white. You
no, not at all. Not at all.
Absolutely. You coddle racists. That's what you do.
Not at all.
That's what you're saying. You're saying I'm not a racist. All people bleed. Therefore, Elijah McClain Well, guess what? People are going to be bad and people are going to die. Breonna Taylor. But guess what? No,
words,
be quiet,
there's
Red.
a difference
No,
between
be quiet,
racist
Red.
and
Be
privilege,
quiet because I'm
remember?
trying to make my point. Listen, she's basically saying that, well, because people die and because people are bad, well, what are black people complaining about?
We could say the same thing. Like, I have a lot of white friends that have died due to police or controversy, and I could say the same thing, but I don't, because you know what?
So what is
My
being
word
done
is
then?
not.
So basically, so what is being done? And can black people change Congress and create laws to create change so that black people can stop dying disproportionately?
It won't happen. It won't
Why
happen.
won't it
because,
happen? Why won't it
because
happen?
at the end of the day, the three of us in this box right here are this big, and the politicians,
Yeah, that
will
are predominantly
overtake.
exactly. And what race is mostly the politicians?
But I don't think it.
They're
I mean,
predominantly white.
But then why? But then
Who's
why
voted in
aren't?
by black people?
But why are
Yeah,
not?
we need to
okay,
stop voting.
If that is an
You're absolutely
issue,
right.
I tell this to my friends all the time. When the whole George Floyd thing happened, all of my black friends were like, "We need to make a change. We need to make a friend." And I'm like, "Yes." I'm like, "Yes, do it." You know what you should do? If you want to make a change, you get your ass in the academy and you go make that change within the system. So why can't black people be the people that go in the system and make the change?
Because there's not enough of us.
What?
Yes, there is.
There is.
What don't you
absolutely.
understand? What don't you understand about minority?
I think that depends on where you live,
What
though. Like,
don't you
I'm in Ohio.
understand
Like, I'm in
that there's
Ohio
not
and we're
that
50-50.
many of us. Listen,
In my department,
there's
there's
not.
more than half
Listen to me.
minority.
Listen to me. There is not that many black people in this freaking country to perpetuate an end to racism that's being perpetuated by predominantly the white race.
So why is it that there are black
What don't you understand?
governors? Why is there
13%.
black
Hold on.
people in
13%.
Congress?
Hold on. Because I fight for my people, okay? And you ain't fighting for them at all, okay? Because you didn't forget who you were.
I am.
No,
I
no,
am,
you're
and I'm
absolutely
not
not.
even.
Actually,
See, you can't say that.
you're
That's going to be
not.
your opinion. That's going to be your opinion.
Actually, you came here and said, well, you know, all people die, and therefore,
Okay, see
who
what
cares?
you're doing there. What you're doing there is, oh my God, like you just
yeah,
did that.
because
Why?
you literally are the definition of white fragility.
How?
Because you can't.
Because I care about
okay.
everybody and not just white people.
If you cared about everybody, then you would know who Elijah McClain's name is. If you cared about everybody, you would know who Tayari Rice's name is. You would know you would know who Trayvon Martin's name is.
I do.
And you would know that is what the BLM is for, and not your sarcasm.
But
So
and
can
it's
you
not
also
sarcasm.
name the white people that were involved in police brutality?
How many black people died last year due to police brutality?
So that's a no.
But
No,
how many
listen.
white people have died that have not been broadcasted on social media?
Oh, so basically, do you not think that white people have enough control and power in this country? Why aren't white people marching for them then? Why aren't white? Let me tell you something.
They did. I'll tell you right now. In my state, they absolutely did. And the police sat their guns down and walked and protested with everybody in my city.
You know, you want to know what's funny? Is the mere fact that suicidal rates are being dominated by the white race, and also mass shootings. Mass shootings are being perpetuated by young white boys between the ages of 14 to 16. And they're
Okay.
No, wait, let me finish.
I'll let you finish.
They're going into the schools, which seem to be pretty good schools. I'm pretty sure Oxford, Michigan was pretty good. And they're shooting up the kids. Yet, why aren't white people freaking fighting for those kids?
What about the black kid in Texas?
Where is the hashtag? No, we're not talking about. We're not talking about black. We're not talking about black. Right now, we're talking about
school shooters.
Listen, you are literally a sellout, Red, at this point. At this point,
out on bail because he was black.
Well, what about 246 years of slavery? What about that? What about in Chicago where people are freaking hurting financially because 9% of the institutional power.
What I want next
you
is
guys
the
are,
next person
you know what's disgusting?
No, I don't want this to be, hold on, Red. I don't want this to be something like I'm coming in letting you know.
You're coming in with your white fragility comments and undermining Black Lives Matter.
Listen. I'm about to.
Listen, Red, this isn't your show, Red.
I know it's not. But
I'm coming in letting you know that don't group us together because there's people like
you're
me.
Together.
No, there's people like me.
You're not an ally. You're not an ally. Allie, you're not an ally.
I don't know how you say I'm not when
you're complicit. You're a coddler of white fragility.
That's what I don't coddle anybody.
Okay, then say black people matter. Do you want to talk about
black
white
people? Do matter. White people matter. Brown people matter.
What?
Asian people matter. Everybody. All lives matter.
Yeah, but guess what? Black people are dying.
So are white people. And Asian people. And Indians.
Who the hell goes to a freaking a public what is that called when you mourn a death? Are you just like, what is it called?
A lighting? Like a visual?
A visual. Who the hell goes to a freaking public visual where people have died, right? And goes, guess what? My grandfather died and I'm going to die and everybody dies.
Everybody has an expiration date. You don't know when it is.
Who the hell goes to a freaking funeral? Let me tell you this. When my grandfather died, if somebody came there and said, so what? My grandfather died too. I'm telling you, he would have to book me.
But that has to go with people have to come at this with respect.
Insensitive.
It's
Allie,
respect. People have to have respect.
Guess what? I'm a black person trying to promote for awareness towards the injustices that are going in my freaking community, and you come here talking about everybody dies. That, to me, that's disrespectful. That's coming out the pocket right there. Like, go somewhere else and talk about your all lives matter. I'm talking about black lives. I'm not talking about white lives. I'm talking about black lives.
But behind you, you have blue lives.
Yeah, and guess who else is blue lives? Black people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's really.
So what is your debate here?
So exactly. So I actually agree with you. You know what my debate is? The mere fact that they should not be a divisive group. When last year, 2020, when the BLM was having their protest peacefully, I'm talking about the 93%. No. Do you not understand numbers?
But where I live, it was not peaceful.
Well, maybe because there's people like you that have racist banter and racist rhetoric.
But I'm not going to say it was mainly the black. It was the black marches that tore down and burnt down most of our entrepreneurs and small businesses that ruined our town.
Well, guess what? The Black Wall Street ruined our town and freaking blew up our whole freaking city where black people were being very successful. You want to sit here and only talk about 1 year, but this has been happening to black people for freaking centuries.
So that's why we all need to come together.
But you want to sit here and talk about all lives matter. White people's lives matter.
But
did they matter? Did they matter 50 years ago?
But that's the thing. It's 50 years ago. It's 2022. We all need to come together as one.
Yeah, but guess what?
And go forward.
But guess what? We're never going to get forward if you guys continue with your racist rhetoric.
How is this racist when we're saying come together?
Guess what?
Exactly.
If you say come together.
My parents came together and made me.
Listen. At a BLM protest that is a non-profit organization.
Yeah, where one of the
you guys are disgusting.
Bought 2 houses.
Like, I can't talk to these freaking racists anymore. I need a freaking break from their stupid freaking talk about black people. I can't do it. I can't freaking do it. I need a break from them. You know what? I just cannot believe that these people in this country literally gloat about being in front of black liberation. Today is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And that just, what does that mean to you guys? It means that people have had to die for black people and brown people in this country to have equal rights as whites. But you come here thinking that it's already been done. It has not been done. Equality has not been obtained here in the United States of America. So you come here and when black people are still trying to fight for social freedom, and then you're going to come here and say that all lives matter. Black men are being killed disproportionately, 3 times more likely to be killed in the freaking streets. And Red is a freaking cop, and he said he would never even go to Chicago, where black people dwell. Every time they say Democratic City, you guys have to know they're talking about where black people live and dwell. It's disgusting. absolutely disgusting behavior. There shouldn't be a competition where blue lives matter and black lives matter, because guess what? Blue lives set an oath and they have a fiduciary duties to the public, and that includes the protected class, and that class is race. And with race, you have to acknowledge race. Red doesn't even believe that there is a black race, and therefore he's not exercising his fiduciary duties. And to me, that is against the code of conduct. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, first I want to say I like your energy. I am torn between some of the things that you have said. I agree with some of the things that the guy Red said. I agree with as well. I think in the bigger picture, what's divisive for people of color is when we are fighting over who our next politician is going to be. So they inflame racism. They inflame that we have a problem. And so they're going to look over there while they're doing the dirty work behind our back. And we're tearing each other apart in the name of racism for the advancement of a politician in a lot of ways. And so I live in Texas. I've traveled a lot. I agree, racism does exist. Is it to the point that it hinders my life? Not necessarily. And I'm a real estate broker like yourself.
That's why it doesn't hinder our life.
Because
we don't work for the man.
But in many ways, I own apartment buildings, right? There's one apartment building that I was doing, and it's in a predominantly affluent neighborhood, right? I was renovating it. So the lady comes over to me. She goes, "Oh, who's It's nice that the owners are allowing you to renovate the building, design and renovate the building." So it's not necessarily because I don't work for anyone. So I still experience it still being self-employed, right? But it
doesn't hurt your pockets though.
I'm not to necessarily go after another Black person because they may not be as passionate about that specific subject. I'm not married to the Democrat Party. I think there are a lot of reasons that they are a hindrance to the Black community because they've always had this idea that you need us in order to get ahead, and without us, you can't get ahead.
Well, if Biden didn't come in and win, then we would still be running by the Republican Party. Let me tell you something. Trump,
but Biden is just as racist as any other person out there.
He gave every American $1,400 plus, and also started a $1.9 trillion relief plan. Okay, and he also has 3 more years to be the president. He's only been the president for a year.
Giving someone $1,400 of their own money does not prove to me that you're not a racist.
Do you think any other president would have done any different?
Which, I mean, before that, they had, 2 stimulus packages before he was even in office under Trump. I think it was, $1,200?
Yeah, and Biden is continuing to keep that train going. Okay, right now he's talking about a forced stimulus.
So if you look at what was called the Great Social Program, and I think it was under LBJ, right? And so the reason why they did one of the reasons why he did the Great Social Program, right, was to create a dependency for African Americans on the government. So therefore, in his words, he will have these N-words voting for the Democrat Party for the next.
You're talking about Lyndon B. Johnson that created the civil rights. You're talking about Lyndon B. Johnson.
He was
the president.
He called the civil rights movement, the civil rights bill. He called it the N-word bill. That's what he was going for.
Guess what? If it's the N-word bill, that's so disgusting. Let me just say this: without the Civil Rights Act and bill, African Americans would still be discriminated in public. I don't care if you called it the devil's freaking juice from the 7th layer of freaking hell.
But guess who voted for civil rights? But guess who voted civil rights in the majority for the civil rights bill? The majority of people that voted for the civil rights bill were the Republicans. The reason why the Democrats got on board was because they were afraid if they did not do it, that they would start losing the southern states. They did not vote for the civil rights bill because they wanted us to be free. They voted for the civil rights bill because they wanted to maintain power.
Explain the far-right Dixiecrats then that freaking basically changed the freaking rebel flag into the racist KKK flag and realigned with the freaking Republican Party.
Well, the KKK came out of the Democrat Party.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true.
So
why?
we
But
can't just
why?
go.
But why?
My point I'm trying to make is that we can't blindly give our allegiance or our alliance to one party. That's why we don't get anything
Okay,
done, in my
but
opinion.
okay. Well, let me say, don't nobody unvalidate my experience. I come from an island. I have worked very hard to basically muscle up my mind. I work on my mind every single day. The education in Hawaii is very horrible. The people are suffering of Hawaii because of gentrification and you know all the stuff that's going over there. I moved to Connecticut freaking 12 years ago to just study. And let me tell you something. I had no clue about anything pertaining to politics until I moved to Connecticut. And let me tell you something. Out of my research, in my experience, the Republican Party is the Dixiecrat from the Dixiecrats that were from the far right Democrats. They are so racist that it's freaking amazing to me that they are even allowed to even run or represent any black person in this country. The fact that every black person that becomes a Republican decides to spill out far right racist rhetoric that hurts our people. I'm gonna let you guys know this, and you're a broker, and I'm on my way to. In 2 weeks, I'm taking the test. Let me tell you this.
Good luck.
Thank you. The Democratic Party and the Republican Party have no power. Of what we do as individuals, okay? And the people don't know it. So why people are saying it's the Democrats doing this, Republicans doing this, really, we are doing it. We have the power, and I think this is what you said, and I know it because I got out of the mess. I do not live my life worrying about working for the man at all. I have an entrepreneurial job. I make money as I work. And I'm allowed to capitalize on my business because that's just what you do as an entrepreneur. We do not need to worry about the 9 to 5 and stimulus checks and things like that if we start changing the way that we use our money and the way that we govern our towns. The town and the state have control, and that's why laws differ and vary from state to state. That's why I got into politics, because it's in those laws where we can make a difference.
But to your point, and I don't mean, I'm sorry to cut you off,
Yeah.
but to your point, where you say the power is within us, right?
Yeah.
And so we cannot attack each other because somebody says, I may favor this with the Republican Party more so
But
than
I
the
am telling
Democrat
you,
Party.
the
But
Republican
but I
parties
agree with you.
are
We have to take our
they have racist policies, and you cannot deny that. Republicans have
this
racist
is,
policies.
I'm going to say what I think is racism, right? Joe Biden nor Kamala Harris would not have won the election, right? But they went ahead and said, we're going to manipulate things, so we're going to get Joe Biden, right? So we're going to get this white man to rule over us because he's going to change everything for us. But in order for him to be president, he has to have a black woman to do it. He
Why
did
not?
pick her.
So what?
Okay, but let me finish what I'm saying. He did not pick her because she was qualified. He did not pick her because that's what the American people wanted. He picked her because if he did not pick her, he would not be in position.
I don't agree with that. I
that
just
is
don't
racism.
agree with you with that. I
That
believe
is,
she knows. Okay, she
the
used to
American
work.
people didn't want her. She lost in the primary.
Listen,
They showed they didn't want her in the primaries.
She worked with his son. She knew him. I don't know if it's Hunter or Bo, but I believe that she worked with them. Biden knows Kamala Harris. Like, that's how it works in society. Like, he knows her. He knew of
Okay,
her.
but she even said that he supported racism when they were doing the debate, right?
Yeah.
She said about the segregation of school. Then if she knows he's a racist, why in hell would she take the job?
Okay, so
there ain't no
basically,
way in hell I'm gonna go and take a job from somebody I know is a racist when I say I'm fighting racism. So she too is just as guilty. She's in bed. If he is a racist, like she said he is, then her too she's just as much as guilty as he is.
He was for segregation of the busing during a time where crime was running rapid. Okay? So when he's saying segregation of the busing, he's thinking of like a white privileged man would think. Now, over time, he has changed his ideologies. He was the vice president. You know how many times Joe Biden tried to be the president of the United States of America?
He didn't change. Let me tell you. Joe Biden is the type of racist. Let me tell you. There are certain races that they. being racist is basically second nature to them. They don't even know that they're racist.
Yeah, like the
Joe
guy
Biden goes
Red
out
that
and
was just
says,
here.
you
And
know
I
what?
honestly, George, I don't think you're a smart guy.
Mhm.
Like, I just want you to open up and
I'm
understand.
listening. I'm open
I
to
just,
every
okay,
idea.
I want you to understand that the Democratic people, politicians, continue to win because the Republicans are racist. They're the ones that continue, let me finish. They're the ones that push these racist policies that keep black people from moving forward, brown people from moving forward. So, guess what has to happen? Guess what has to happen? Because the Republican Party is already going off with their racist banter, right? Like, make America great again, Republican Party. Proud Boys to stand back and stand by, Republican Party. And all the people that Republicans were okay with a wall being built that separated us from Mexico, knowing damn well America goes to freaking Cancun every summer. Okay, they were completely okay with the Muslim ban, right? We had a Republican president for over 4 years, right? Who created a whole movement that was made to reinforce white supremacy. I mean, I can't even watch one MAGA hat rally and think that this is a freaking KKK rally.
So
So let me tell you this. So what does the Democratic Party have to do? And this has happened multiple times. And this is why black people are still being used today. Systemically, they're being used for the votes.
by the Democrat
It's called,
Party.
listen, they both, well, Republicans don't really care, to be honest. They don't really care.
And I'll tell you why. If you say they don't care, I'll tell you why they don't have
okay,
to care.
and I want to hear your point, but let me just say this. So basically, what he's saying is somewhat true, but you guys have to understand that the reason why the Democrats are winning. So imagine if you're a Democrat, right, and you wanted to win. Well, how are you going to win? Well, America has a history with racism. And black people have been known to be very successful with being loud about our liberation. And so what we fight for and what we've been fighting for is equality within our country. And guess what? A lot of people, more than you realize, really like that idea. So Democrats come as the Lord and Saviors to refute these Republicans that are freaking racist. And guess what? So then they win elections. And this is continuously to keep happening so much and so successful with their strategy. If it's a Southern strategy, you would call it the Northern strategy. They've been so successful at it that black people usually vote Democrat. And so confident, Joe Biden said, "You ain't black if you don't vote for me," because he already knows that he got in the bag because he was dealing with a racist Republican.
Now, to your point,
Stop being racist.
If to your point, if you're saying Republicans are the ones, I mean Democrats are constantly winning, right?
Yeah.
Then if they're the ones that's
Why?
continuously, okay, but let me finish. If they're the ones that's continuously winning, and they're for us, then why isn't our situation changing?
Because
they
guess
have
what?
because
Because
if they're the ones that's winning, if they're the ones that's in power, then they have
Fuck
a
this dude.
change. The
Fuck
reason why
Donald
the
Trump.
Republican Party does not have to banter
Fuck
to the
Donald Trump.
black vote is because
Fuck Donald Trump.
Okay, the reason why, okay, that was inappropriate. Please don't
the
be
reason
inappropriate.
why the Republican Party don't have to cater to the black vote is because we don't give it to them. But if we started splitting our votes, they would be running and kissing our asses, and they would meet our demands. But
Yeah, but we're not
Democrats
going to
don't
vote for
have to
racist
meet our
policies,
demands.
man. But
But to
listen,
your point,
George, we're not going to vote for racist policies. That's just never going to happen.
it's not. To your point, Joe Biden said, "If you don't vote for me, you're not."
He was right.
Because he understood that you're going to give me your vote anyways. I don't have to do shit for it.
Yeah, no, he really didn't have to because you know what?
And so he's not.
But let me just say this. Let me say this. Let me just say this.
We give them our vote without them meeting our demands.
But why, George? George, but why?
Why what? I'm sorry.
Why was it that at one point most of the Black Caucus were Republicans? Then all of a sudden we were Democrats. Why?
We were Democrats because we gained a dependency upon the party.
No, that's just not true.
What switched us over was LBJ and our dependency upon the party. And once we became dependent upon the party and the social services, let me tell you, I had an uncle who was a pimp. Okay, I'm going to give you a good little story. Okay, and he would teach us as a kid, in order to own someone, in order to own, in his words, a hoe, You have to have certain things. You have to have fear, one. You have to have a dependency, two. And then you have to create this idea that life outside of me is worse. The Democrats have done that to Black people.
And what have Republicans done? Absolutely not a freaking thing. Let me tell you something. The Republican Party and Republican presidents, they have the right to speak on behalf of everyone equally. The Republican Party and the Republican presidents have the right to do exactly what the Democratic Party has done. They don't even care enough to even stick up for Black people. Freaking Donald Trump said, stand back and stand by. And he used to be a Democrat. Okay, so this really isn't, to me, this really isn't a leftist versus right. This is really a race of hierarchy. Okay, white supremacy is in this country, and it's not going to go anywhere.
In both parties.
In both parties, exactly. So
In both.
when you want to say Democratic Party or Republican Party, it doesn't matter how many laws get pushed through Senate. If the Congress, who's predominantly run by the white race, if they don't push our freaking policies, nothing is going to be done. So
but
the president,
we have
to
Black
me,
people. There are
just
Black
a puppet.
people. We have Black representation in Congress, right? And if they really believe that racism exists to the extent that they
do
say
you
that
not
it
think
does,
that racism exists?
oh yeah, absolutely. But if it extended to the extent that they say that it does, if I was a congressperson, I would hold up every law. We're not going to do anything until we solve this. The reason why they don't do it is because they have to flame it, because what you need is division and contention. And as long as there's constantly division and contention, they're doing their backdoor deals that have nothing to do with racism. Joe Biden came in and said he got elected based upon BLM and so on and so forth. When he gets into office, what is the first thing that he does? He signed an executive order for a hate bill for Asians. Well, guess who they were showing on the media that was attacking Asians? Black people. So he was allegedly going to be the savior.
Do you think that Black people literally love Asians? So that's not even an argument, bro. Like Black people literally, Asians and Black people literally get along. Like there is no issues within Blacks and Asians at all. I grew up in Hawaii.
I'm not saying
and
Asian and Black
Asian people love Black people. Black people love Asians. Same thing with Latinos.
I'm not saying Black people and Asian people have an issue. I'm saying that Joe Biden said that when he was elected because he was going to be the savior for racism against Black people. When he got in office, he has not done anything for racism for Black people. The one executive order he signed for racism was for Asians. Nothing for Black people.
He didn't give us he didn't make Jubilee a freaking holiday. And for any of you guys to think that that's something to be taken lightly, let me tell you something.
Don't give me a holiday.
I'm so happy that they did that. I'm happy that
don't
they did
give me a holiday when if my problems still exist.
Why do your problems exist? You're an entrepreneur. Your problems shouldn't exist.
If you say racism, I'm Black. If you say racism exists, like you say that it does, then I'm affected by it, whether I'm an entrepreneur or not.
Well, maybe not
when I walk into a room,
but other people might be.
They see me as a Black man before they see me as anything else. So
yeah, me too.
So you know
what I want to say is this: it's really not about you and I. And I have said this so many times to a lot of people that are Republicans. Listen, you can't convince me that Republicans aren't racist. I have seen more racism in the past year, since last year, than I ever have in my whole entire freaking 36 years of living.
Malcolm X said something. He says the most dangerous thing to a Black person is a white liberal. And there's a lot of truth.
You know what? You know what? I thank the Lord for white liberals, white saviors. Today, I believe, are a reincarnation of abolitionists that have fought for our freedom since day one. I don't think they get enough credit. People talk about Harriet Tubman, but nobody ever talks about all of the white families that had to be a part of the Underground Railroad. You see, the Underground Railroad would not have been able to be in existence if there wasn't abolitionist white families that were hiding Black people.
And the majority of them were white Republicans. And the majority of those people were white Republicans.
Guess what? That might have been true back then. But the realignment did happen in the 1960s. At one point, Republicans were giving us the laws to be free. Literally, the Emancipation Proclamation did that. But Abraham Lincoln had the ideologies that Republicans still have, that they would never be nor for equality within whites and Blacks. Abraham Lincoln said that he would never be for whites and blacks being equal. Yeah, we'll let them be free, but we're not going to let them have equality within this country. Who's going to
It's,
work for us? So one thing about capitalization is that someone's got to work. Okay, people don't become capitalists overnight. Like someone's got to freaking do the work. African
mhm.
Americans were brought here to work for free, and now they're working on what was that I said, you guys? Minimum wage. Who's going to work these minimum wage jobs? Who?
The minimum wage jobs, there are people that are going to work them, whether we agree that they're going to be there or not. And the purpose of having a minimum wage is so that you cannot underpay someone to the extent that what they're doing, it doesn't have there's a baseline for what you can pay someone. So the minimum wage jobs for
Somebody said
teenagers
Mexicans.
and so on and so forth, those jobs are for, for hopefully for people that are starting out, or for people who may not be able to have opportunities like you and I. Or whatever. But the amount of people that get paid minimum wage in America, I think that number is extremely low. I don't know the exact number, but it's fairly low number. And so when people are saying fair wages, what's a fair and a fair livable wage? A fair livable wage is whatever somebody will agree to work for.
Okay, let me just say this: Democratic cities are predominantly run within where Black people dwell, and Latinos dwell, and there's a lot of people that are Republicans that point out the conditions of these areas that are predominantly brown. And instead of being a part of the change, instead of Republicans trying to run for a governor in Chicago and things of that nature, they do nothing. They only point out that they're Democratic cities. But here in these cities is where Black people live. Why?
And most of those cities are ran by Black Democrats.
Okay, so let's
we can't overlook the fact because they are Black and a Democrat, we just can't overlook that fact. We have to hold them to that same standard. They're the ones that are going out. You look at the Lori Lightfoot or whatever, and you look at and the girl
I
in
don't think she's doing
California.
a great job, just so you know.
They're doing horrible jobs. And so what we're doing
if
is we're giving
Republicans were
them
the Lord and Savior to everything, which is what Republicans make it seem like. But therefore, law and order literally affects our Black communities disproportionately because of historical being underfunded, being historically disenfranchised. These communities have been devastatedly affected for centuries. So it's up to the Black savior Democrat to come save the city? No, it's up to every politician and everyone to be interjecting into these cities and making sure they have the same rights, same plans, same opportunities as every other state and town. But that is not happening.
Those cities are ran by tax dollars, which are paid by the people that work in the cities, right? The money doesn't fall from manna from heaven. Okay.
Right.
So when we're saying that the city is underfunded, well, it's probably a misappropriate use of funds by the people running the cities.
Well, I guess you would have to prove that.
But it's also based on property value, right?
Exactly.
So property value in those areas also determines how much funding that those areas get.
Exactly.
And because of the Land Act in 1820, when white men and only white men were given land by the U.S. government, they were able to create generational wealth from that. Okay. So when you go back, that is where we start with systemic racism. Okay. Because that's where it starts. When we enslave people for all of these years and we prevent them from voting, we prevent them from owning land, we then create the Jim Crow era. And then once we're out of the Jim Crow era, then here comes law and order. Okay. Because that's what Nixon ran his campaign on. That's how he became president, was based on law and order. And do you even know where police came from? Do you know how they became? It was to literally go and catch slaves and bring them back to the owners. And so when Nixon and all of these Republican presidents brought in this law and order and funded the police and overfunded the police, it did affect Black Americans more than it did anyone else because of the laws that were written in place to enslave Black Americans now into the prison system. Have you watched the 13th? Do you know anything about the 13th Amendment?
Well, I'll tell you this. I have 43 years of being a Black person.
I'm sorry. She needs a hand clap because I've been here for hours and I'm glad.
I'm glad.
I'm telling you, standing ovation.
I'm glad you read your books and I'm glad you've watched your movies. But I have 43 years of experience of being Black in America. I don't need a book to teach me what it's like to live in America. I don't need to watch a movie to teach me what it's like to live in America.
But you do need to know the history.
I understand the history, but I get to live the history every day that I wake up. Okay.
But you ignored the history. And so therefore you're just looking at it within a lens. You and a lot of people that came here tonight. Let me just say this. You and a lot of people have come here tonight and said, well, it's now year 2020. Let's move on. But everything this lovely lady had just said,
I've never said that.
Listen, you're in real estate. It takes, how long does it take to build a township? How long does it take to build a town? Probably a long time, because here in Connecticut, these towns have existed for a long time. I'm talking old towns. I was just in this one town called Torrington. Oh my God, that town was old. I have to get the heck out of there. So if it takes a long time to build something, then it's going to take a long time to redevelop it. These things don't just happen overnight. 50 years ago, the Jim Crow law was in existence. So to even think that we've been living in an equal playing field, we have not been that long. There are people still to this day that are still alive that lived through that.
On a whole nother topic, I never said that we have that. None of the things that she said has never existed. You and I have talked about history before she even got on here. So I to say that I don't understand history,
I'm not saying that you don't, but you're not recognizing the devastation that's been happening within these communities and people, including with the BLM. Like she said, I didn't know that actually. I'm actually really enlightened that the police was created to get slaves. I mean that would explain
to me that's common knowledge. I don't need a book for that. To me that was common knowledge. I thought
I didn't know that. I'm from Hawaii,
school,
and I learn every day, and I'm so happy I got to learn that so I can go read more about it. And as far as I've heard about the 1820 Land Act, but it just kind of reminded me
that I'm denying that these things. But you're saying that I'm denying that these things exist or has happened. I've never denied that they.
No, but you like the Republican Party, and the Republican Party has been known
to
perpetuate these racist policies.
We're just arguing over who's going to be our master. That's basically the argument.
I literally live in Texas. And I'm surrounded by racist Republicans who don't even want. I've got a horrible echo, so I can't even hear.
No, but we hear you clearly. Please.
Confederate statues. Those are literally statues of KKK grandmasters. Okay, and so I'm in Paris, Texas. If you have any clue where I'm at, we have KKK rallies here.
Wow.
So. I mean, it's insane here, and racism 100% exists here. I don't know where you live, and I know that different areas are different. I cannot, speak on your experience in America as a Black man. I know that, but I can tell you what I see as a white woman in a predominantly white town with all Republicans who are 100% racist.
Wow. Today.
And they go with the Republican Party because they share those views with them, right?
I want to share.
And that is the honest God truth. And I live for you.
I live in Dallas, so I'm in Texas, okay? I've had a knife pulled on me because I'm Black. I've had someone try to run me over with a car because I'm Black. I've been called the N-word more than I can count. I've been discriminated for employment. I've gotten a job because I'm Black. Okay, so you're not awakening me to anything. Okay,
well, when it comes woke.
to I mean, so
it's nice to be reminded.
I live in Highland Park, one of the probably wealthier neighborhoods in Texas. Okay. And so I know what it's like to go into a store and they'll help somebody else before they help me. Right. So you're to tell me, but most of these people I have found with a lot of white liberals, they're okay with me as long as I stay in my place.
That's horrible.
In the moment that you are out of your place. For me, with white liberals, it seems to be that you're the enemy. You're a sellout. You're whitewash. You're this, that, and the other. But as long as I'm fulfilling their agenda,
Well, what's
it
their
has been my
agenda? For
experience with a
equality?
lot of white liberals. As long as you're fulfilling their agenda, you're black people fulfilling their agenda, then they tend to be okay with you.
Well, guess
It's
what?
the
Maybe there's white liberals that are just sick and tired of being a part of this racist bullcrap that's been going on for centuries. They want it to be done. They want it over. They don't want no part of it. So they're willing to be allies of black people to say, we're willing to do whatever we got to do so we can all move on and move forward. That's just not
I
happening
wouldn't go
from the
that far.
Republican Party.
I wouldn't
I
go that
believe
far.
that. I absolutely believe that. I thank God for every white ally. Listen, my daughter is white passing, okay? And I have the hardest time explaining to her about, these things because she's not living a black person's experience, and I'm afraid she won't. So it's important for me to instill these morals within her so that she can be, honestly, my black daughter is half black, a black ally. You know what I'm saying? It's so important because I can see her going real far right sometimes. She goes, Mommy, nobody talks about racism anymore. Like, let's just get over it. And I say, honey, listen, you can't just get over it. There's people still suffering still to this day. You need to be an ally. If you're not an ally, what are you doing? What are you doing, George?
I think I live where I understand racism exists, but it does not dictate my life and my every
Good.
movement.
But does that
Okay,
stop
so there.
racist policies from coming into play? Listen, George, if you are driving in a car, right, and you're in Texas, and let me tell you something, next debate tomorrow, pro-gun versus the 2A. Black men are being killed just because they have a hoodie. I mean, you dress pretty nice, I can tell. But what if you have like a hat on and you're wearing a hoodie and they automatically think that you're a black guy? I mean, you're light skinned, but I mean, what if it's the sun? Like I'm light skinned too, but in summer I'm dark as hell. And what if they think that you got a gun and then they shoot you? I mean,
I
there
do
are
have
Trayvon
a goal.
Martin.
huh?
I do
Trayvon
consider
Martin.
Trayvon Martin or even Ahmaud Arbery. He was just freaking walking into
Yep.
town. And listen,
Elijah McClain, he was walking.
they're literally not, they're okay, they're in the neighborhood, maybe they look suspicious or whatever, but they're unarmed and they're dying. Okay, so Republicans are saying law and order. In my town in Connecticut, and I'm in the north, next to my kid's school was a huge sign that said law and order, and under it said Trump. And these signs were coming up during the BLM, which was meant to freaking bring forth awareness for these people dying injustifiably. They were unarmed.
Do okay, guns have a history for black people that has been beneficial, right?
I
We
don't
at
think
one
so.
point we
I'm
at
not
one
getting into
point we couldn't,
guns.
okay, at one point we couldn't have guns, right? And so they were coming to black people's houses and they were pulling them out the houses and murdering them and burning crosses in the front yard and so on and so forth. It was when black men could get a gun and start protecting their families that then stopped. You fast forward to the 60s when you have the Black Panthers. They wanted to make gun laws so that you could carry, but you could not have bullets. Why? Because they were afraid of a racial uprising for black people to defend themselves. So guns have a part in history that are beneficial, and it's not the gun, it's the people
It's
that
definitely
have
the
the gun,
gun.
some
It's
of them
definitely
have
the
the
gun.
problem.
My
And
sister,
so,
that's like saying it's not your heart, it's your body. Like they go hand in hand, I believe. But
well,
let's
I mean, I can still carry. I don't have any intent of shooting anyone unless it's in self-defense. I'm not going out of my way to go shoot somebody. I don't care to shoot somebody. I hope I never have to. But in the event that I needed to defend myself, that's what it's for. I'm
well,
not going out. And so we can just say, well, it's black on black crime, and black people, a black guy's more likely to kill another black. I'm not more likely to kill nobody.
oh, what are you doing?
You know.
Um,
Oh, I thought you said something.
what? Oh, okay. Due to proximity, and this is the last statement I'm going to say, and I'll let you say your piece. Due to proximity, if you have a gun, which I'm very pro gun control, we debate about that all the time usually, but I just try to switch it up tonight. Um, if you're a black person, you have a gun, you're more than likely going to kill a black person. Due,
I'm more.
due to proximity, you're going to kill your own people.
You're going to use it
Well,
against young people.
then that argument would be
And if
made
you say that,
for
and
white
if you
people
say
as
that,
well. That argument.
absolutely. Guess what? Mass shootings are plaguing white communities.
Mm-hmm.
They're killing their own people.
But do you think if you took the gun away that there
They're
wouldn't be
also
another
killing themselves.
people?
I believe that until we can get our guns from upticking and decreasing the violence that's being perpetuated with this gun, I think we need to do extreme measurements in order to protect not only these kids, most importantly, but also ourselves. I mean, nobody feels safe anymore. I mean, you can't even go to a concert, deadliest massacre in Las Vegas Strip. 58 people died, 400 people got injured. This guy had multiple guns and a lot of style too, including the AR-15, which has been the poster gun for basically mass shootings. We got to do something in America. Doing nothing is not an option. There are other countries that have successfully lowered their gun violence deaths, and we are freaking skyrocketing. Do me a favor, go look and see how much people died last year. I'll tell you right now, there's over 40,000 more people died in this country from gun violence than any war that was perpetuated by our country. Like, it's crazy. If you want to talk about 9/11, which every 9/11, I live right next to New York, so I'm thinking like, oh my God, every 9/11 I get emotional. Double that by at least 10 or 15. That's how many people have died. And 193,000 kids have died since the 1990s. Like 193,000 kids. Because people are not locking and storing their guns. Like, it's freaking sad that people are trying to protect themselves, but it's more likely they're going to use that gun on themselves or on someone they love or someone of the same race, or worse, accidentally get in the hands of a kid who decides to take that gun and go take it to school and kill innocent children. I mean, it's just kind of
So,
amazing
what
to me.
would be your remedy for keeping the guns out of the criminals' hands?
We
And
need
law-abiding citizens can.
Yeah, law-abiding citizens need to follow the law, and I think these laws need to be the strictest. And I do believe that they need to be enforced appropriately. Okay, I think we need to fund the police. I think we need to make sure that the best, chiefs and commanders are looking over maybe ex-military things like that. I mean,
But police don't stop crime; they respond to crime.
they respond to crime.
So,
But okay, so also technology, I think could be a good play. Body cams have been statistically known to lower gun violence pertaining to police brutality, because now they're being watched, so they're not so quick to do things like that. So I think surveillance is something that we need to invest in. Right next to my town, there's a place that they're known for gun violence. I mean, it's freaking bad. I can't even watch the news anymore in Connecticut. It's just freaking ridiculous. If you walk in this predominant metropolitan city, you'll see these little cameras with a little blue light, and they're like on every block. So, it's kind of like neighborhood watching. Okay. I believe that investing in these neighborhood cameras is going to stop a lot of crime. Listen, I've said this once, I'll say it before. Criminals are not going to break the law if they think that they're not going to get away. People want to get away with breaking the law.
mm-hmm.
So, of course, there's always going to be ways around it, but we need to surveillance these towns. We need to enforce the strictest laws. I swear to God. We need to have the red flag laws. Look them up. They have been known to help. Red flag laws will allow for people to snitch. Sorry, we got to start snitching, or people are going to start dying.
Well,
Or people are going to continue to die. I'm sorry, they're dying. But hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. What's going on?
So, been listening to the conversation a bit, and I wanted to go ahead and say this towards the point that you made in regards to funding the police.
Yeah.
My main issue with funding the police is, instead of funding them directly, they need to fund their training, period.
Yeah, agreed.
They need more training. They need to be, taught how to fully and truly de-escalate situations.
Yeah.
A lot
They need
of
to be
times,
counselors. Yeah.
exactly. A lot of things that are going on right now is showing that they have a lack of empathy when doing their job. Yes,
Yeah.
their job is dangerous, but at the same time, I hate the whole blue lives versus Black Lives Matter, because blue lives is not a real thing. You signed up for a job. You filled out an application. You were told the risks of this job.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and quit that job if you want. you can go ahead and go on to something else if you don't feel like risking your life on a daily basis. But you cannot take the skin off of you and not be black. And I hate how people will try to also go and try to say, well, all lives matter. But here's the thing. All lives cannot matter until black lives truly do matter as well. That's what a lot of people forget to take away from it. It's not saying that black lives only matter. It's saying that black lives matter as well. Please treat them as if they do.
Yeah, but that concept is. Go ahead, George. It's
I mean,
for some
I
reason
agree with
not
you.
penetrating
I
their
agree with
minds.
you. I agree with you 100%. I don't agree with defunding the police. You look at places like Chicago and San Francisco and Portland and all the people that would defund the police. Now they're coming back and asking for funds for the police. Joe Biden is now wanting to send out federal police and everything else that they told Trump not to do, right?
Pansexual. I'll let you in after. I see your guys' comments. Sorry, go ahead.
I agree. I agree with you in regards to there needs to be better training. So there needs to be funding for that. Defunding the police is not enough. The better training for people because you have humans patrolling humans. Okay, you have humans with problems patrolling other humans with problems, and so I think I agree with you to the point that there needs to be better training. I do not want, if I'm calling 911, for you to send a social worker. I don't want it. I want somebody who could come with a gun.
Well, I think that social workers can come in during domestic violence cases. A lot. No.
I've had a cousin. I've had a cousin murdered from domestic violence, and someone else I knew murdered from domestic violence. I can assure you that they didn't want a social worker coming to their house when they're in their situation. I have witnessed domestic violence. I can assure you, you do not want.
Okay, so I'm a domestic violence survivor. I believe I'm a domestic violence survivor, and I believe that if a social worker came and not the cops did nothing every time they come. They did arrest him, and whenever he would violate that order, which he did, because I would go back to him, nothing would change. I believe if I got the right social worker that gave me the essentials and tools that I needed in order to feel supported, so that I wasn't leaning on this man when I was in a vulnerable situation, they would have been able to equip me with the things that I didn't know I could get or have, because I was vulnerable. Then I wouldn't have kept seeing that person, and probably I could have died a few times too. I think social workers need to be interjected in these situations, and if that's not going to happen, these cops need to have social work experience. Like, they need to be counselors. So my fiance is a correctional officer, but one job that he can have is a counselor. They need to be counselors. Not every situation, like Red, that guy, the cop that was here, is a high, intense, cold red.
So I get what you're saying, and I agree to an extent, and also agree with what he said. So I would make this argument that along with your standard officer that would arrive to handle the calls, you would also want to have a counselor arrive, depending upon the situation and nature of that call, because you definitely want to make sure that the victim in that situation is fully taken care of and, spoken to, and that issue is dealt with. All the facts are gathered, but also you want that officer to also be there to, keep the peace, because as you said, a counselor won't be able to really, keep the peace. Their whole thing is de-escalation without lethal force. But the cop being there would help in that situation to an extent. But
did you guys see that guy who was shot by like 8 cops? Like, they came in like the SWAT, and he was trying to flee away, and so they decided to put like 100 bullets in him. What was his name? I don't think cops should be able to have the opportunity to kill, to be honest. Correctional officers don't have guns. I don't think cops should have guns. I'm sorry.
Here's the situation. Cops should have guns, but I do believe that every situation should be handled to the same standard that they handle the active shooters from different situations. The guy that shot the people in the church, he was apprehended with the utmost care. If you can apprehend him with the utmost care, and he was armed and dangerous and had already killed multiple people, there's no reason whatsoever why people in traffic stops should be killed.
Well, yeah, and let's say this: black men are scared. Let me just say this, because I'm about to go soon. Black men are scared of the cops. Black people are scared of the cops. Okay, more than I think white people are. Okay, I got pulled over. Somebody stole our car. A young kid stole our car, and the police station did not update their system. So when the cop pulled me over, he thought I stole my own car. and he had drawn out his gun, and I'm a female. I was terrified. Okay, so ever since that happened, when I get pulled over, or if I did, I don't, but if I did, if a cop is even driving near me, I instantly start shaking. Because the mere fact is they can kill you. But that's not supposed to be the norm, and it is. We need to unnormalize the mere fact that cops have taken advantage of their role as police. You are not supposed to be killing people.
And you know what? In order
That's
to
not supposed to be a part of the job.
In order to do that, in order to make that change, what needs to happen is the way that police are trained as far as how to deal with people in urban areas. Because a lot of times they are taught to deal with people in rougher neighborhoods with a little bit more, aggression. That way they can try to take charge of the situation. But what they're not realizing is that the environment we're in, you have forced a whole bunch of people into having a certain view of the police. The country's divided on that. So you have some people that will back the police, and you have other people who are either afraid of the police or hate the police. Yeah. So in order to get to that middle ground to where you can actually reach the people and actually be able to help them without that aggression is approach the situation with care, approach the situation with, some empathy, and also with some logic and caution as well. I'm not saying you can't be cautious and you can't do what you need to take care of your business and handle your job correctly. But what I am saying is that you need to make sure that you handle it with a certain level of professionalism. If you are not prepared to get into a job where people are cussing you out, disrespecting you, and, calling you the worst things ever, and you get mad about that, but you're the one with the gun, you have no business being an officer, period.
Exactly. Like Red said he wouldn't go to Chicago. I'm like, really, bro? Like, that's just
I think he has a right to say there's a certain risk associated with his job.
Yeah, but you can't be scared as a cop, George. You can't be scared as a cop.
If I was a police officer and I'm getting paid the same salary, I'm gonna take the least risk. If it's $100,000 in rural America and $100,000 in Chicago, I'm gonna take my $100,000 in rural America and risk and have increase my chances of going.
I like you. Okay, so can I ask you guys both this before I think pansexual is trying to get in? Do you think Black Lives Matter?
Yes, but
George,
in order for Black lives to truly matter, I really feel like we need to make adjustments in this
do you
country
think Black Lives Matter?
To make them matter all the way around. Because let's look at it. With the way our neighborhoods are set up, or rather, in fact, I'll speak for myself right now as far as the way my neighborhood is set up.
Okay.
Why is it that I can go 5 blocks in any direction in my neighborhood and immediately find a liquor store? You don't see that. Talking about. You don't see that in white neighborhoods. You don't see that.
You know that's because of planning and zoning. Like they're okaying these businesses to be built there, right?
I think too what we have to understand for a lot of minority neighborhoods is that we don't have a large number of ownership in those neighborhoods, right? So we don't have pride of ownership in the neighborhood. It is the reason why the other neighborhoods don't have the liquor stores in their neighborhoods because they own majority of the neighborhood. So there's pride of ownership. So they don't want the larger retailer in their neighborhood. They don't want the liquor store in their neighborhood. So they go to the neighborhood because the people who are putting the liquor stores there own the real estate.
Right.
They own. It's not.
Oh, right. So they're right. So the people that are owning the commercial property are okaying these rentals of these businesses in the space. Yeah, but yeah.
And they're going where there's a clientele base. So there's a clientele base there too. I think for minority neighborhoods, if we really say we're going to really change our own neighborhood, it really takes us to own our own neighborhood.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
Ownership.
That's the dream, y'all. That is my dream to be part of that. And I hope George too. Yeah.
I agree to a certain extent as far as owning the neighborhood, but we can't own our own neighborhoods. We can't own our communities without first taking, stock in the fact that the Black community as a whole right now, we are on a messed up spectrum at this point. On one end of the spectrum, you have people who actually give a damn, who wanted to make a change, who want things,
that you do have to recognize.
Black community. You have others who would rather keep things the same, remain stagnant, and don't.
That's heartbreaking.
And then you have everyone in the middle who's trying to figure out exactly where to go. There's too much division in the Black community, and there's not enough people willing to look at both sides of it and see which is the better route. And then even if you go to the better route, too many people are not willing to put in that work. They're not willing to take that risk.
Can I ask you a question, Third?
Yeah.
And I know I jack up all your guys' names, but I just see the first thing. So,
Oh, no, you're good.
would you, as an African American person, support like the 1994 crime bill, stricter laws to get these guns off the streets, like in Chicago and metropolitan cities, so that these kids are safe? George Floyd's niece just got shot in her room. She was in her bed. She was sleeping, but she's okay. She even made a video. She goes, "I'm okay, y'all." Like it didn't even like phase her or something. Like that has got to stop. So are black people willing to say, "Hey, listen, okay, white people are not going to change our communities. They're just not. We need to own our communities, like George said, and we need to take responsibility. Stop drinking at these freaking liquor stores. Okay, start investing in our landscaping. Start investing in our towns. But in order to get the criminals out, there are black criminals. There is gang violence. Are we willing to support these strict laws that are going to incarcerate these black men that could be a product of historical oppression?
And you know what? In order to change up gun laws, I'm going to go ahead and just say this. Dave Chappelle said it best. In order for gun laws to be changed, every single last black American, law-abiding black American needs to go ahead and register for a firearm.
Oh no,
If all of us were to register for a firearm, I guarantee you laws would change.
Okay,
No,
so what you want to do?
Seriously,
What you want to do is you want to kill our own people.
No, I'm not saying kill our own people. This is all I'm saying. They don't make a law until it would benefit them. At this point, there's no benefit to them making any gun control laws because who are the people that are buying up the most guns legally? Who are the most people buying up the most guns? White Americans. They're doing it for hunting.
Yeah, and guess who they're doing strawman purchases with, and guess who they're selling it to under the table? Strawman purchases. Guess who they're selling it to?
Exactly.
Black people.
I get that, but here's the thing: you want those stricter laws. Everyone has to register for a legal firearm. Go through the legal training, the proper training to actually know how to use those guns. I don't like guns myself. I'm not a fan of them. But my thing is, I would rather own a gun legally, and as a result of me owning a gun legally, knowing how to actually properly handle one, when to properly use one, and then in the same time educate my kids on how to properly use one and what it means to actually.
Your kids. Let me tell you something.
Absolutely.
I'm going to say something to you real quick, since you're pro 2A, that racist, and I'm going to say this because I know what they say. Racist white people know.
White people.
Sorry, you were froze up. I didn't hear what you just said.
That racist white people know that black homicidal rates are being dominated but with gun violence. Okay, and due to proximity, because there's so many guns being pumped into these metropolitan cities, black people are dying at high rates. Black people are only 13% of the population. Whether we are exonerated or not doesn't negate the fact that we're dominating 30% of homicide. So we're being killed double, if not triple more than our population. Okay, so to have more guns, see, they don't need to do anything anymore. They don't need to be racist anymore. They have done so much damage in our communities that all they have to do is sit back, relax, eat popcorn, and yell the Democrats, and basically completely deteriorate us from knowing the problems. And the funny thing is that they're bringing up the issues to us, and we're not even realizing we're perpetuating what they created. They don't need to hang us from trees. We killing each other.
I don't think taking guns out of the black community, so we're going to make
kind of
stricter
amazing to
gun
me.
laws.
We're dominating. Look, if you go to the FBI statistics and you look at all the crime, we're dominating death via the gun, or what, homicide, kill, murder. Candace Owens, a Republican, said that black people were the most murderous race in this country. And guess what? According to the FBI statistics, she's not wrong. And I can't stand her.
But what we're saying, what I hear you saying is taking guns out or stricter gun laws will change the black community. It'll make it safer and it's going to change the neighborhood. What I think will change the black neighborhood is exposure And what I'm saying by that is a lot of people do what they know. Like if my cousin Junior was a gangbanger, I'm gonna be a gangbanger. I'm gonna sell dope because this is what I know to do. Because you haven't been exposed to being a real estate developer, you haven't been exposed to being a stockbroker, and so on and so forth. So what will change the Black community is exposure, education, and then people start changing. You no longer have to be a part of a gang or so on and so forth. So the guns will by default not be a problem.
Well, I think by getting, this is my dream, is to get Black people to wake up and understand that we are the ones doing the murdering now of our own people. That if we realize that, what are we using to murder? Well, the guns.
They know.
I want every Black person to stop killing each other. That's it. Like, we just need to all be on the same cultural. That's why I like talking on TikTok, because I have friends in Africa now, in Zimbabwe, and as well as the other one, Ghana. And what they tell me here on the show is that African Americans do, like, we say the N-word. We have completely lost our original culture. It's so disgusting. We need to make a pact here in America, as Americans, as African Americans, that we aren't going to kill each other. I promise you we're going to change the game. Keep your freaking gun. But make a vow that you're not going to kill another brother.
And
Learn
I hear
to fight
you.
with your fists. I'm from Hawaii. There's lots of fights breaking out every day. They be knocking people out, Samoans. But they don't kill each other. We need to stop killing each other. And then they're going to talk about abortions. Let me tell you something. Women have over 300,000 eggs throughout their lifetime. So when you're talking about abortions, it usually happens within the first few weeks. And guess what? There's more freaking eggs. I have 2 abortions. I have 3 kids and have been just fine.
Here's my thing on that. And I'm going to just say this. I don't care who feels any kind of way about it once I say this. If you do not have a uterus, shut up about abortions. You have no say.
Right.
Just leave it alone. I don't care if you're a Christian or feel some kind of way about it. You are not the woman. It is not your health. It is not your body. Leave her the hell alone.
Right, but do you guys understand this? And really quick, and then I have to go. And George, I definitely enjoyed talking to you. I hope you felt like you had a good time at least. Listen, yeah, I like debating. I don't know what to tell you. I grew up with a big family. It's fun for me. Basically, women have 300,000 eggs. Do the math. If every woman was to procreate every egg that was through her cycle, there would be too many people. And right now, Bill Gates is trying to freaking depopulate us anyway. Right now, Bill Gates has said that depopulation needs to happen. There's too much people and not enough resources. So really, is abortion a bad thing? I don't know. You have to go look at the stats. All right, you guys want to say one more thing? And then I'm going to bed. It's 1:25. Dang. It was
George, you go ahead. I feel like I've been cutting you off.
No, I'm just going to say thank you guys for at least, even though we've had a difference of opinion on some things, at least we've heard each other, and that's all I can ask.
And George, hey, listen, maybe next time you come here, bring some statistics about the Republican Party. Maybe I might be a Republican, guys.
I think I'm going to say this. I think most minorities are conservatives, and they don't know it.
And here's my thing on that.
Conservative, because it's exhausting trying to tell Black people to stop killing each other.
Here's my thing with that. I just believe at this point in time,
stop killing each other, please.
That the Republican Party and the Democratic Party just need to go ahead and step aside. We need to go ahead and give Green and Libertarian Party a try, because at this point in time, it's been years. It's been decades. Neither party has been able to get shit done because they're always at odds. They're always bickering over what should pass, what shouldn't be passed because of their
first liberal president.
I'm just saying, like, we just need to have a change because this shit is stupid.
I like my money.
I'm tired of arguing over red and blue states because red or blue, it doesn't matter. They're not getting shit done. Even though, yes, Biden is in office, and I did vote for Biden because I wanted to vote for the lesser of two evils, it's still the same shit. He's only able to get so much done with the resistance that he has against the Republican Party. We just need to have need to have 2 new parties go in and start from scratch and actually do this shit right. But back to what you said, I just want to make sure I address it. I'm not for, the killing of Black people in the community. Okay. Not for that at all. I only mention, every Black person getting a legal firearm, because once that happens and they see an uptick in that, the NRA will be forced to, make changes or make it harder for certain guns or for certain ammunition to be obtained. Thus, it would actually curb that situation.
But kids would die. Kids
True,
would die.
it's fucked up.
1 out of 3 families. Let me tell you something. 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3 homes that have legal guns will get. One of those houses. 1 out of 3 will be unstored and unlocked and unsecure. It's going to get to a kid, and that kid's going to freaking die. 193,000 kids have died in this country due to people not doing what they need to do with the gun. So enough kids dying. I'm sick of mass shootings. Okay, we need the strictest gun laws. Go look at the UK. Go look at Australia. Go look at Japan. It works. We need to make changes. Red flag laws needs to be normalized across the country.
They do.
It's so sad.
But
Anyway, I gotta go, guys. I'll see you guys later. Bye. Go to their TikTok. I'm pretty sure they still have energy. I don't.
Take care, guys.
See you.